Welcome to the San Jose Hockey Now podcast. We have a hilarious and emotional episode today. Today, like last day of school, Shark season just ended. It didn't end the way that we hoped, but it was such a fun, special ride. We're going to talk all about that. Talk about exit interviews. Mike Grier spoke. Ryan Warsofsky spoke. Talk about Macklin Celebrini's extension. Also, too, where did I vote Macklin in the MVP? We're going to talk about that. Dan Boyle's back on. Dan's going to talk about what he saw from Luca Cagnoni in the last 3 games of the season. Keegan has a surprising trade idea for Zach Werenski. He and Dan would trade a surprising player for Werenski. Zubair is going to share his favorite hockey movie, and it's not what you expect. Anyway, great show today. Before we get to it, though, let's talk about Bring Hockey Back. BringHockeyBack.com. Get the best hockey shirts, jerseys, USA swag. They've got hilarious t-shirts there and all kinds of hockey stuff. And if you need a custom jersey, a custom hockey jersey for your beer league, for any event, Bring Hockey Back has you hooked up. And we've got you hooked up with a coupon code, San Jose Hockey Now, for 15% off any orders. So once again, San Jose Hockey Now, 15% off any order on BringHockeyBack.com. And now, the San Jose Hockey Now podcast.
All right, boys, welcome back. Haven't seen you guys in a while. Dan, how you been?
I've been great, man. I've been really good. Life is good.
Nice, dude. A guy in my beer league team, he's from New York, and he plays D. I was his D partner, and we were talking. The podcast came up, and then you came up. He was like, who's on the pod? I was like, Shengers, Keegan, Boilers. He's like, Dan Boyle? I was like, yeah. He's like, that was my favorite player growing up. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, dude, I was in New York. He was in New York at the same time. And like smaller defenseman that could play. And he does play like you, like that beer league version of it. And I was like, how fucking cool is
With
that?
beer.
Yeah, exactly. And then weirdly enough, then my buddy who's a listener of the pod, shout out Glenn, like sent me a Facebook message and was like, dude, have you ever seen this clip of Dan? And I'd never seen it. Because if you ever Google Dan Boyle goal, the only thing that comes up is you put
yeah,
it
I
in
wonder
the
what comes up.
Yeah. But then it was this clip of you going coast to coast on Brent Burns and just scoring the most disgusting goal. And I guess it was Burnsy's rookie year.
That I didn't know, but yeah, like everyone thinks that my goal here with the Sharks end 5-on-3, but still I go through Ryan Suter's. Ryan Suter, sorry. Norris Trophy candidate and
No big deal.
Yeah, no, but everyone thought that was the best goal. But the best goal I've ever scored, not meaningful goal, just kind of aesthetically pleasing, was the one against Minnesota against Burnsy, where I took the puck, kind of curled back in our zone. It was 5-on-5. And I went outside, inside, outside, backhand through his skates. Then I roofed it on, I think, Manny Fernandez, if my memory serves me correctly.
Manny Fernandez.
Call back.
High glove. So, I don't even know like what the score was, but that's probably the most aesthetically pleasing goal I've ever scored. So thank you for bringing it up. A lot of people don't forgot about that or don't know about it, but that was a pretty good one.
Dude,
How can people find this clip?
We're going to put it on this podcast. I'm going to put it right
we
here.
can't because of copyright reasons.
Well, what if we like invert it and like turn it sideways?
I don't
Do you think
know.
they'll?
We could do stick figure drawings. People just want to look it up.
Boyle goal versus Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, probably.
What about Boyle makes Burns look dirty?
Yeah.
No, actually, that could get weird.
I looked that up already, and it's very
It's
hot.
not there.
It's very hot. Well, did you ever tell Burnsy about it? Like when you guys played
I don't know
together?
if we ever talked about it, to be honest with you. I'm sure I'm assuming he knows. I don't know how many times he's been danced like that before.
Yeah, not many.
As a
Brent's been
defenseman,
dancing a good time.
yeah, like for me personally, like on my end, like totally danced out of my jock. It happened twice, and both guys were fourth liners. I can't remember. One was McCarthy from New York, the
Sandy?
tough guy.
Sandy McCarthy?
Because and I'll tell you why it happened. The other one was named Jesse Bullreese, played for the Flyers.
Oh yeah, Panthers too.
I don't remember him.
So basically, yeah, both times it's me going, oh, this is a fourth liner. He's dumping it in. And then both times I eased off, which I got to tell you, for 99.999% of my career, I didn't. And you kind of ease off thinking there's no way this guy's going to like toe drag me or whatever. And both times those guys made me silly. Now there's one online that a Finisenkov kind of got lucky spinning around. The puck kind of like goes on his skate. It kind of doesn't look great, but I wouldn't consider that a dangle. But certainly those two I remember. So hopefully Burnsy remembers, and hopefully it didn't happen too many times to him. But that's probably certainly the nicest goal I've ever scored.
I want to add too that McCarthy and Reaves, those are both enforcers too. So my theory was that you were just afraid that they were going to punch you or something like that.
I wish I could say that. No, you just it would be like, hopefully Jody. I would hope Jody Shelley watches this because I love Jody, but it would be like Jody coming down one on one.
Yeah, exactly.
Against you, Zubair. Even you wouldn't give him that fucking respect, but he would toe drag you. So
absolutely,
you just kind of let your guard down for a second, and then they try something, and it makes you look silly. So.
Is that kind of thing where you're like you're scouting, like you know that this guy's an enforcer, what have you? Does that go all the way up the lineup too? Like this guy never shoots the puck, or this guy never passes the puck.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I don't know what teams are doing these days, but there's always a scanning or a scouting report on every player, and I don't think be prepared for a toe drag would be on there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
don't fuck me up.
As a player, I would say, like I said, I respected everyone I played against, that they could beat me. And those two times for sure, I did not respect them, and they made me look silly. I don't think either of them scored. So that was the good news.
Oh, good.
So we can't find it online then.
Exactly.
Probably not. But I know those guys danced me, and it was like, they made me look silly. So respect your opponent's kids always.
Dude, that was a dirty goal. Actually, you know what else I thought about too is that goal against when you're up against Ryan Suter and you dangled him. That finish was also nasty. I had like a little hesitation where the goalie dropped.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That's when you it's a 5-on-3. There's a play that the drop pass. I don't know what you guys call it now, but defenseman skates up to the middle, drops it.
Yep.
Drops it to the guy coming with speed. So that's the play that is called from the bench as we go out there. So I'm supposed to drop the puck. I just go into Dan mode where it's just understanding the game and what's going on, and I'm like, fuck it, let's go. And then I beat him, and then if there's a little bit of a holy shit, I'm through. And now I had I was another goalie for Minnesota. What was his name? He's pretty good too.
Rollison, maybe? Rollison?
No, it wasn't Rollison. He was I want to say he's
Okay.
Swedish or something.
Backstrom.
I think it was. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
And then it's just relying on your hockey skills, and I went forehand, backhand, and there's another good one. And then there's the other good one was in Buffalo. I think I was with anyways, whatever. It's not a Dan Hour show, but anyways, thank you for bringing it up.
It was sick. I was so glad my buddy sent it to me. I was like, how come I've never seen
pretty
this?
Awesome. For all the new fans that listen to the podcast, I used to.
I didn't know about that goal, so
You
I'm
used
going to
to
look
play
it up
professional
myself.
hockey for the Sharks.
I used to play professional hockey. I used to be okay, and
he's not a degenerate like the rest of us.
Not that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he is a degenerate, but he used to be a hockey player too.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
all right. So I have two boiler finger gun questions for you guys. Quick one, rapid fire. Who has the best toe drag on the Sharks?
Oh shit! Why don't you start with
very
these guys?
specific.
We'll get your idea, and everyone has an answer, then we go, so we don't influence each other.
Like the best specific play, or like just the best?
Yeah,
Who has the best toe drag
or-
on the Sharks? Who can pull off a toe drag better than anybody?
Ooh.
Oh.
I mean, there's one answer, but I will give a different one.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm ready.
I got mine. Sherwood.
What?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Kiefer Sherwood has a nasty toe drag.
You know who I saw like pulling it
I'm
off
telling
like
you.
every game down the stretch was Alex Wenberg. Like just like
Oh,
toe
Wenberg's
drag
got
after
it for
toe
sure.
drag
He's
after
dirty. He's
toe
slick.
drag.
Yeah,
He's
he
slick.
actually is. Yeah.
I still think Macklin is.
It's Backlund.
I mean, it's Macklin. I'm sorry.
I mean, Will Smith, Willie Macklin.
Yeah, both good, but
I
I
don't know
think
if I've
it's
seen Eki toe drag. Have you?
Eklund's move, honestly, if I was designing a hockey game, Eklund's move is he comes in on the D-man.
Shimmy?
Pretends to like go. Yeah, it's a shimmy, 10-2, pretends to go inside out.
Yeah.
Now, it's a good move, but defensemen are going to know that, and they're going to expect it now. So next year,
Sure.
another huge fan of the podcast, we're gonna need to get that toolbox a little wider and a little more expansive and start having more than a few things. But I mean, it's great. He had a couple great. I mean, that one highlight goal was kind of part of that. But yeah, that's a great move. And
Yeah, he's got the shiftiness for it. He's so quick.
He does. He's very shifty.
Yeah. And
he used to do the Eklund spin move a lot too, where he would like go in on the defender and then kind of just cut backwards and keep the puck, but it doesn't really work in the NHL.
It feels efficient, though.
Yeah,
it looked cool, but it didn't do much.
Yeah, it's pretty fun though.
All right, second question: favorite best hockey movie of all time? It's a personal one.
I got one. Why don't we go around? Keegan, why don't you start?
I watched Miracle on a plane coming home from San Diego like 2 weeks ago, and I'm gonna say Miracle because that movie fucking slaps. I love that movie.
Wait, it took you your first time you watched it was 2 weeks ago?
No. I just meant like it was on a plane.
I was like,
and,
deport this guy.
No. But I was just saying, like, I was like, oh, you know what? I could fall asleep to Miracle. It was like a 6-hour flight from San Diego back to Boston, and I was like, I didn't fall asleep. Kept watching the whole time.
Nice.
Amped up the entire time. I love that movie.
That's so
For
good.
Americans only, obviously.
Yeah, right. Hanger, what do you got?
I'm joking.
Miracle was my vote too, but since Miracle has been taken, then I will take Slapshot. Slapshot's great. It still is a classic.
You
seem like a Slapshot guy.
Yeah.
Good one. Boilers?
Zubair, what do you got? Oh no, you got a different one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll go with a more common one. And again, it was when I was younger. Slapshot obviously is the all-time classic, but Young Blood. Young Blood for me growing up.
Yeah.
Everyone loves tea with Miss McGee.
Cheesy as hell, but yeah, Miss McGill. I think it's Miss McGill. I think it's Miss McGill. I believe it's Miss McGill, but just with Patrick Swayze of all people,
Keanu Reeves.
Amazing.
Yeah, and who's Dean Youngblood? It's fucking Rob Lowe.
Yeah, Rob Lowe.
So anyone who has not seen Youngblood, it's going to be dated, of course. A little cheesy with the little. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah, I just heard about this like a couple of weeks ago. They're like redoing Youngblood.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's a TV show, maybe, or is it a movie? I could be wrong.
This could be like one of them like made for Disney movies or something.
Zubair,
No,
that's called.
I don't think
It's
so.
called Heated Rivalry, Zubair.
It's called Heated Rivalry.
It's already been on the air.
Tea with Mr. McGee.
That third episode of like
it is a movie. Actually, it is a movie. But yeah.
That third episode of Heated Rivalry, by the
Watched
way,
it.
has like a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and all like the.
It's so good.
It was
It's
so
very
good. Did
good.
you miss it? It was so good. The whole thing was so good.
It's
The
so
third
good.
episode is fantastic. It's
Yeah.
very good.
I want to add one more movie, though. One more hockey adjacent movie that I love before Zubair jumps in. Sudden Death.
Sudden Death. I don't think I've seen that.
Oh,
With
dude,
Sudden-
that's
Sudden
a
fucking
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
That's
Is that at Pittsburgh at the Igloo?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, opens
He's
up-
Okay,
got
I
That sounds
haven't
awesome.
seen it, but
Dude,
I
it's
gotta
good.
watch this shit. That sounds awesome. With
haven't seen
Jean-Claude
it,
Van
Keegan?
Damme. I haven't seen
I've
it.
seen
no.
it, but I don't know why. I know it's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I feel like he's at the Igloo in Pittsburgh, and I feel like he's hanging from the rafters or something.
Yeah,
He takes his
he
two
fights
children to
the
a Stanley
Penguin
Cup final
mascot.
game. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Dude, it's so good. That's actually a good
All right,
thing.
Zubair, what do you got for us? I don't.
All right, so I loved Ice Guardians, the documentary. I
Yeah.
loved that.
That's a
amazing,
very good one.
amazing.
So
Yeah, best-
that
best.
that would have, I think
that's
Knoppers
awesome.
is in that too. So that would probably have been my favorite. But there's a movie in Boilers. I actually sent this to you in December, but it's called Listers. Have you guys, anyone else seen this?
I'm looking at it on my
No?
phone right now. No.
Okay, it's not even a hockey movie. Okay, it's actually a documentary about competitive bird watching. And
Oh,
Okay.
you did send me
Okay.
that, but I didn't
So
watch
how
it.
is
Yeah.
this your favorite hockey movie?
so you find out watching it that it's actually two roller hockey players, brothers,
Okay.
and they
Okay.
get into competitive bird watching. And honestly, it's kind of the best movie I've seen encapsulate locker room culture in hockey. Like all my favorite things. It's like they're living in a car, they get competitive, but
What
they're
is
using
competitive
hockey
bird
lingo.
watching, though?
What?
What is competitive bird watching? I don't know what that is.
Okay, so basically, and they that's kind of the beauty of it. It's you find this, you discover this world that you wouldn't think is interesting, but with their sense of humor and also just like it's great visually, just watching all these birds, they go through and basically there's like a group of people that are extremely competitive, and there's like an online database to see, and you have to verify how many birds you can see in a year, unique species. And these two roller hockey kids go on this like journey to compete. And it's amazing. I'm telling you, low key, my favorite hockey movie, though it's not really a hockey movie. It encapsulates hockey culture really well.
So real quick, do you with hockey culture, do you guys know what, when you refer to bird watchers, you know what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes, and in hockey, yes.
You're talking about guys in the shower that like look down and look around.
No, I know.
I thought I was watching.
Talking about women.
No. When you're a bird watcher, when you're in the shower, you're like one of those guys.
Okay, well, no,
they call those bird watchers.
And I rest my case.
Dan, tell us who was a bird watcher in your 18 years ago.
No. To my grave. To my grave. I'm taking that to my grave.
Was it Sandy McCarthy? Yes or no?
To my grave. To my grave. No.
That's the real competition. That's the competitive
He's been
bird
on our
watching.
podcast before. No, I'm just kidding, JD.
JD said.
Logan Couture.
JD's gonna pop in on this podcast.
There are a few options. No. By the way, JD's doing a great job. I came home last night. I put on NHL Network, and he's doing a fucking fantastic job, man. So,
no, he's beasting.
Yeah.
He's
doing great.
He's funny. He's smart. He knows what he's talking about, and he's doing a great job. So cheers to JD, man.
There's no doubt that Joe Thornton was a bird watcher. You don't have to confirm or deny, but just for laughs, he just did it for laughs.
Oh yeah, there's different reasons why you're a bird watcher. There's different reasons.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying like you're into it, but some guys would just like to watch. Or like to look to see what was going on.
That's what I'm saying.
Joe was naked more than he was clothed. That's all I felt like after games. It was a very
fuck. We're like 20 minutes in. We've talked about dicks and fucking bird watching
and listers
and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I'm telling you, watch it. So, speaking of Jumbo, it looks like a record of his was broken by no other than his.
All right. Hockey
what a
talk.
good transition.
Yeah, is tenant Macklin Celebrini. So let's get in some end of the season things. I mean, unreal, man. 115 points. The way he finished it. I mean, just to cap it off, I think with Mike Grier's statement from the locker room closeout on his thoughts of the Hart Trophy, which we talked about on this pod, and I gotta say, I stand corrected. We had some comments tell us what the Hart Trophy meant. I was a little confused by it, like the best player in the league, but no, best player for their team, and then
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Is it like unreal?
Yeah, I want to go. Actually, go ahead, Shenger, because I do want to talk about him even a little more than I have already. Go ahead.
Well, number one, Mike's statement was nice, but he said it 2 days after all ballots were submitted. Or a day after, I think. I submitted my ballot on Friday. Yeah, he said it on Saturday. Number two, and I'm going to get a lot of hate on this, but Macklin was number 2 on my vote.
Whoa.
McDavid number 1?
I'm not going to tell you who my number 1 was. So I'll just leave that.
Do you get an actual vote with the voters or whatever?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I asked you guys 2 weeks ago.
If he loses by 1 point, it's all on Sheng.
He's not going to lose by 1 point because he plays in San Jose, to be honest. But
he won't.
A couple weeks ago, I told you guys, if you guys had any reasons, I'll say I'm not going to reveal all the conversation, but I talked with Drew Amenda, Randy Hahn, and Dan Ruzanowski before the Chicago game. I was like, this is what I'm leaning toward. Tell me why not. And I was not convinced. I know that the award says most valuable to your team.
You're wrong.
Okay, I may be wrong, but most valuable to your team.
100%
but that is not how people vote, though, every year. That just simply is not.
Most valuable player to his team.
Everyone's looking at the definition now that Macklin could win it. That's not how everyone looks at it every single year. I mean, Connor has won it multiple times, even though he has Draisaitl, he's got Hyman, he's got Bouchard, right? That's not taking anything away from
Well,
Connor
it's a
McDavid.
very data-driven award. You're not going to see someone with 50 points win the award. You're not going to see someone with 75 points win the award. You're at least, unless goalie aside, right? I don't know who the last goalie was, but
Hellebuck.
So, I mean, for me, like the Winnipeg game, last game of the year, he needs 3 points to beat Joe, which is an incredible fucking feat in itself.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And he's 19 years old. He was fucking playing like he was not cheating at all. He was not cheating offensively at all. He was in the D zone working his ass off. He was coming back. A couple times I was like, just shoot. He was passing the puck.
Yeah.
Got a great shot. He's a great scare. He's smart and all that. But my best compliment I give a player, and he has it, it's his heart, his desire to win, and it's impressive in that game where he was statistically and historically, and he was working his ass off playing D, coming back. He did not cheat whatsoever. I couldn't be more impressed. I'm sure Joe is too. So he's fucking amazing, man.
He is,
Yeah,
but he is not spelled HART this year.
Well, that's because they got dumbasses like you on the voting committee, apparently.
He's not going to win. He's not going to win. So I'm just putting it out there. I don't know that for a fact, but like I would predict very comfortably.
I believe you.
I think if your argument is like that's not how voters vote, but what is your actual opinion? I guess is the better question.
Well, I voted my opinion.
Okay, you did then. All right, that's good.
And I believe that there is a player that you don't necessarily look at what he has with him, because every other series candidate, McKinnon, Kucherov, and McDavid, they all have serious firepower next to them. There's no doubt about that, right? But that shouldn't take away from, again, McDavid's won multiple times with, at least a high-end good supporting cast. Maybe not like depth guys, but like he's got high-end guys, right? And so there is a guy that I felt was both.
And you're not going to tell us. You're not going to tell us.
No, I don't. Yeah,
that's fine. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Now, may I interject?
Yes.
If the Sharks are wild card 1 and they're in the playoffs, is your vote different?
Yeah, it is, and I've said that before and I said this a couple weeks ago that.
So if they make the playoffs, you're voting for Macklin.
I believe that the valuableness has to lead to something.
That's a fair point.
It does, right? And so
how about sellout crowds again? That means a lot to a team.
That doesn't mean shit for the Hart, honestly.
Dude, bringing hockey back to a city, I mean, that's a lot of heart.
That's not what the Hart means.
So my argument would be, if you remove Macklin from this, what do they finish with? 85
86,
points?
I think.
86.
Okay,
Yeah.
if you remove Macklin from that team, this team has 47 points.
Yeah, 50 maybe.
If you remove player X from your ballot, I don't know how many points this team had. If you remove that player, how many points do they have?
It's not that player's fault, though, that his GM had put better players around him.
But isn't it? Well, who means the most to their team? Like,
but who's most valuable to their team?
Another way of looking at it is,
you don't do that every single year again, though. Like, how does Connor McDavid win it every single year, even though he's got all these guys with him? Because he is a very valuable player. People change
he's like the best every year. But.
Yeah, but people change their definitions of this every single year. That's the honest truth of it. People are trying so hard to fit the definition in this year because it's Macklin. People want Macklin to win.
I think it's an award given to the best player in the NHL based on statistics and view from, because you're not watching 82 games of all these other teams and all these other players.
Fair.
So
yeah.
You're voting based on statistics, some highlights. You probably see, 10, 15, 20 games of this person, but you're not watching 82. So I think it goes to the best player of the league, and it's going to be the face of the league. It's McKinnon, it's McDavid, Celebrini will be there. For years it was Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky growing up.
Yeah.
You got your Steve Yzermans that come in, but I think it to me it's a Macklin Celebrini award because based on the definition that I know of, and I could be wrong, most valuable player to their team. There's only one person for me.
I want to add one more point that the last time I think this really happened where like it was really important that the player was the most valuable to the team was when Taylor Hall won it. I guess you can already get Hellebuck last year too, but Taylor Hall, right? That was a big one. But that was a very weak year if you look at it, though. No one crossed 100 points that year, if my memory serves correctly. And so this year, the problem for Macklin, and not just for my vote, but for I think why he'll lose it, is because it's a very strong year. Right? I think we can agree on that. This is not a year where, in Taylor Hall's year, Nathan McKinnon didn't cross 100 points. I think he was a finalist. Somebody else was in there too, didn't cross 100 points. Taylor Hall ended up about 90.
Shoffley.
Yeah, he was 103. Yeah, Shifley.
Whatever, 103.
But I'm talking about the Kucherov, McKinnon,
Saying,
McDavid, right? 127 plus, I think, for all of them, right? And then McDavid 138. Kucherov, what he did in the second half, he was putting up Gretzky numbers in the second half. So that's another part of it too. That this was not a weak year in this. So anyway.
I will say, last time that we talked about this, I had Kucherov one because Kucherov was doing crazy shit. I changed my vote to Celebrini. I don't get a vote, but I changed it to Celebrini. Only because that you're right. That last game, like breaking the record. Thinking back, like all the seasons that you watch, like what is the last time you remember somebody changing a team this much in 1 year?
Yeah.
Like even when McDavid came in, it hasn't happened since Crosby and Ovechkin. It literally hasn't. I don't think in 1 year.
I think it happened with McDavid. I think that didn't he make it to the playoffs his second year? The first year he was injured, so yeah, I think you're selling McDavid a little short there. To be honest, yeah.
Maybe.
I'll say Keegan too. After I got clarity on the definition, I was like, it's Macklin too. Particularly like what I like to see is like by that definition, who's got the most points on a team and what's the gap for second place. There's no bigger gap of all the finalists than Macklin and our second place scorer. And I think that's like who means the most to the team. Like that gap is massive. But then I also saw, I was at the game with Shengers. We were working the Edmonton game, and then you see Connor McDavid carry the entire team on his back without Hyman, without Draisaitl, and pot in a hat trick.
Too. Hyman was missing that game too.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Oh, you said Hyman?
No Draisaitl, no Hyman. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Okay.
And so he's missing 250 goal scorers, scores a hat trick, 2 assists, and literally carries the team on his back. And I'm like, my God. And that game was amazing. And like I'm not saying I changed my mind, but also like. It put McDavid, because I was saying Nate Dogg, I'm like, it put McDavid right there with Macklin with me, and I'm like, okay. So, but McDavid had an incredible finish.
All right, so it's Celebrini. Move on. What's next?
Celebrini. It's Celebrini.
Sorry, Macklin.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking on that, though, because we talked about this a lot, we could go through this one pretty quick, but at the beginning of the season, we talked about captaincy a lot with Celebrini. Now it's the end of the year. Has anything changed? What do you guys think? Next season?
No, he's going to be the captain next year. I'd be shocked if he wasn't. I think he's done so much. I know that there's some thought about, okay, he's only going to be 20, but he has shown so much this past year. Again, Ryan Warsofsky said this after the Winnipeg game, that every time people kind of put a ceiling on him, he just kind of he plows past it. And so that's a constant in Macklin's career, going back to when he was a kid. So in most cases, I would say, and I'm sure Dan, you would say too, that 20-year-old should not be a captain, but I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be this fall.
Well, we had this conversation a lot early on. I was a definite no for next year back then. He's making me think about it. I would bet the farm he gets a letter on his jersey.
Well, he's not going to lose the letter.
I'm not sold that it's going to be a C this year, or this upcoming year. I'm saying they could go with a rotation of A's for 1 more year.
Okay.
He gets the C in 2 years for sure, but obviously with his play, I wouldn't be. I certainly would not be surprised if he had a C on his jersey next year. But depends on who's coming back. Yeah, no, he's the captain in the future of this team, obviously. But
we always say like we don't know what's going on in the locker room, and then Foley was like, Yeah, I can't see why not when asked if he should be the captain. And
Ryan
that's like
Reaves
the
too,
guys.
yeah.
Yeah.
Revo.
So I would say if they're saying he should probably be captain,
Yeah.
probably.
That's kind of
Right.
what I'm going off of. Yeah, I want to add too that you guys mentioned a Winnipeg game, and I think it's really important to stress too, like how important Macklin breaking Thornton's record was to his teammates, and how much
Yeah.
they mentioned it, how much they wanted him to break it, and like you said, Dan, that it wasn't like it was forced, but that they clearly wanted him to
yeah.
break it, and so
Fuck, we all
they
did.
love that guy. You
I
know,
just I didn't think he was going to do it. I honestly did not. Like I was like, oh, he's going to get just short. He'll get it next year, 2 years from now, whenever. But yeah, he I cannot believe that he broke that record.
I loved his game, the way he went about it. It was, it was awesome.
Insane.
So,
Oh.
all right.
I'm saying yes.
You're on
3
yes
to
too?
3 to 1 or 3 to 0.5. Dan's on the fence.
I'm a 0.5, yeah.
Well,
Okay.
Dan, you know what I like?
I'm not sold.
Remember the chat with Pronger? I really like what he said too, because you brought up really good points about the off-ice stuff and him being young.
Yeah.
And Pronger brought up that point where he's like, well, if you have the right veterans, they take on some of that load. And I like what he said there, because like Toffoli's around next year. Like you have some of these veterans who are good with that stuff.
So you put a C on him. He's your leader on ice or whatever. But when it comes to the shit that I was talking about, where the wives go for the playoffs and all this other crazy shit around, then then you put a supporting cast that take care of that stuff. I'm good with that, as long as that, those are kind of things. And the referees, the respect. I also spoke about the referees' respect with a 19-year-old kid, but his respect has shot up
100%.
so much and so fast that when we had this conversation, that was 80 points ago. So
True. That's very true.
That's what I mean? He had 30 points. Now he's 115. I think the respect from the referees has, so in fairness to what I was saying 5 months ago, the case for him to be the captain is next year, as early as next year, is certainly fair.
I want to add to your point, Dan, too, that part of what Toffoli coming out like that, Ryan Reaves coming out like that, like, it sounds like we have no reason to believe anything different. Gaudreau, too, that, like, these guys would be happy to do some of these kind of detailed things of leadership for Macklin, because they recognize how important he is, how good he is, that he's going to learn these things. So that's part of it too, right? Because you're not just anointing who's going to be 20 next, a 20-year-old, and the veterans are like, fuck this guy, whatever, there's none of that. And so I think that's a big part of it too, that all these detailed things that matter, seem like they're happy to do it.
He's that good that if I was 37 and a UFA and I got traded to San Jose, for example, I would have no problem having a 19 or 20-year-old be my captain, as long as it's Sidney Crosby or Macklin Celebrini. All right. The respect would be there because of the eye test, not just, just looking at what's going on in the standing or, points wise. From what I've seen on the ice, I've seen enough to know that this kid cares. This kid plays the game the right way. I don't know him. I don't know what he's like in the locker room, but I've seen enough of how he plays that I could be a 37-year-old free agent, and I would be very happy to have him as my captain.
Absolutely. And also, what a great way to give the Sharks fans a little bit of security. I already thought it was, I think none of us were doubting that he wouldn't obviously re-sign. I think that was not an option, but just nice to have that security with him and Celebrity's statements, Will Smith and Celebrity statements in the end of the locker room closeout interviews. Shengers, you were there, and just, you want to talk to you a little bit about what they said about re-signing in San Jose?
Yeah, it was pretty unequivocal. There wasn't any question about it. And I want to give a sense of what kind of contract we're looking at. I did find it mildly humorous that Mike Grier kind of played it down. He was like, yeah, it doesn't happen. It's cool. It doesn't happen this summer. It's cool. It's going to happen. I don't even know why he's even playing it down. So he's the one that gave the case for Macklin to be MVP. And then he's talking to us about leverage. And how we're making him lose his leverage by laughing about it. So
also joked early in the year. He's like, yeah, we might not re-sign him. Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I do remember that.
Might let him walk.
That's the kind of point we're at. But I want to give you guys some context, though, because I did look up salary cap era guys who are most similar to Macklin in terms of just their next contracts. And
so he's signing for $8.7 million. Let's go.
No,
Yeah.
well, okay.
Sidney
No, I'm going to bring
Crosby
that up. I'm going to bring that up, actually.
71 million is what he will sign for. He will.
8.7, though, doesn't
That'd be
mean what it did when Sidney first signed it.
That's true.
And so there's something very similar, actually. So this is actually very instructive, in my opinion. So I looked up McDavid, Crosby. I also looked up Matthews. Stamkos doesn't quite count the same, but okay. So McDavid, Crosby, Malkin, and Ovechkin, when they signed their second contract, it was all within 15 to 17% of the cap. That's really instructive. So
Yes.
Crosby, when he did that 8.7, the first time he signed that in July 2007, 8.7 wasn't like the huge discount that obviously it became because Sidney kept signing the same contract. But 8.7 was 15% of the cap back then. So same goes for, again, Malkin when he re-signed it. And both Sidney and Malkin, they signed it in the second year in the summer in July. And Malkin's second contract was also 8.7, but it was also in that range of 15% of the cap. Ovechkin signed a longer contract when he did it because that's when they could sign past 8 years. So he signed a 13-year contract, but it was basically 16.8% of the cap, right? And so I think this gives you a general range of what we're talking about if you're going to go 8 years at least. You know, I know Matthews has a different number because Matthews signed a shorter-term contract. But even Matthews, right? Matthews signed a 4-year, $53 million contract. And that was 15% of the cap back then, too, when it was signed.
I'm telling you right now, he's going to sign 4 years, 71 million.
He's going to sign for more than that, I think.
50, so what is that, like 15?
That's like...
17.2.
No, that's like 17.
17.2.
No, he's going to sign... I think the average will be lower than that because, okay, so the average 15% next year the cap is 104 million. So you can do the math pretty easily. So that's going to be about 15 million. I don't see Macklin. I could be wrong, but like I don't see Macklin as. I don't know if he's going to follow the Sidney Crosby path. Because Sidney Crosby obviously left like a good like $50 million or more, 100. I don't know, 50. At least a good $50 million on the table.
Yeah.
By signing 8.7 every fucking year.
I was saying that a little facetiously. I don't know what he's going to sign for. I do, and I've said this before. I hope that when you get into the numbers he gets to, he thinks about Will, he thinks about, you know, some of the other guys that are coming up. He wants to surround himself with a team. So whether you're going to make 68 million or 72 at some point, I know this is a crazy thing to the people that are watching that are making, working their asses off to make, X amount of money. But at that point, you got to think about team. And that's what the good players, and that's, you mentioned Sidney. On a smaller scale, when I was in Tampa, I think Marty took less. I feel like I took less. Brad Richards took less. LeCavalier took a little less. We were all trying to do kind of the same thing. That's what the good teams do. So I hope they will follow suit.
I hope he just does an 8-year. That's all I care about. I don't care about the number.
Yeah, I want
an 8-year contract. I don't want this because like Matthews, like that 4-year thing, or like remember the whole Nylander fiasco after a couple of years.
That could be the agent getting in his head. Hey, in 4 years we're going to do this, or
exactly.
Or you don't want to commit to 8 years to a team that hasn't made the playoff in 7 years. Maybe you want to say, hey, the money will be there. I'm just talking as an agent now because I've had one. They. Hopefully as a fan, now I'm on the fan side. Yeah, I want him for 8 years for sure. I think he's absolutely the player you want to build around, but he may say, hey, I'll give you 4 years. Then it takes him to possibly, what's free agency age now? I should know this, but
still 27. Yeah.
That's 27.
So, okay. So that would be,
So you'd still have time.
Yeah. But I think it is really instructive, the percentage, though. So I think that if you're curious about what it's going to be, and I'm sure the Sharks are very aware of this, and Macklin's cap is very aware of this. So, like, Connor McDavid's the most recent similar case, right? And it's crazy that we're talking about Macklin in these terms. It still is crazy to think about that, but it's accurate.
It's also crazy they bring up Austin Matthews, and Austin Matthews never had 115 points in his career.
Exactly.
Is he going to be... Is he going to be living with Joe when he's making $15 million a year?
That's a good question for next year, right?
That's the question I want to know.
But anyway, Connor McDavid in July 2017. Basically within 4 days of when he was eligible to sign it, he signed an 8-year, $100 million contract, which was 15.7% of the cap, 12.5 million cap hit. So you just do that with a higher cap, and so we're talking like 8 years and 120 million or something like that.
All right. Well, this might be the segue into what we may want to talk about here, just because I don't have all the time in the world. But
okay,
what do the Sharks need? And if I'm Macklin, I would like a D-man or two. All right, one that's going to defend, and one that's going to hand me the fucking puck.
Yeah.
And I've talked about Hughes a little bit. I watched him the other night. Nasty. Makar. I mean, I'm not saying those guys grow on trees. I've said this before, but if I'm Macklin, I'm willing to take a little pay cut so that we can go and find this person either via free agency, draft, however it may be. Although draft would obviously take more years to come to fruition. But if I'm him, I want a D-man that's gonna give me the puck a little bit. And I guess I'm jumping the gun here because I know we mentioned prior we would talk about what do the Sharks need to do moving forward. Well, for me, I think a puck moving defenseman is probably for me number one. And I had a buddy kind of talk to me this morning. He's like, I know, but like you need a guy to defend. I'm like, okay, when I say puck moving defenseman, he's got to be responsible two-way, but he's got to chew up ice time. But it's like 100%. it's like Hughes in Minnesota. It's not that he's so good defensively. It's that they can't get the puck off of him. When he's got the puck on his stick for the 45 seconds, you don't have to play defense. So you don't have to have the stud D-man playing defense and cross-checking everyone in front of the net when you can have a guy just controlling the pace of play.
No, it's like Eric Carlson back in the day. Yeah.
And
so he's also playing with Faber, though. Brock Faber's also.
And who's awesome. Who's awesome, too.
Like, Faber's
amazing duo. Yeah. So I think for me, I'm sure Guersey knows this, but I think two defensemen that play different styles are my probably one and two things that I would be looking for in the offseason somehow. And I know you guys mentioned Radish, and I know you love Radish, but where was Radish 3 years ago? The Lightning found him. They found him. So there might be a Radish somewhere. I don't know where he is. He might be in the minors somewhere. But there might be a guy out there that's your Dan Boyle or your Marty St. Louis or your Radish where you don't have to fucking blow your bank to find him. So I don't know where that guy is, but who 3 years ago would we talk about Radish making $7, $8, $9, $10 million a year? No fucking chance. He got an opportunity, but the Lightning did a good job of scouting. They did a good job of finding him, and here we are.
I absolutely agree. Well, I thought this would be a fun one because you brought this up in our text thread. Werenski. What would you give up for him?
So I brought up a text thread. I would be willing to give up quite a bit. I think
I know Keegan and I agree with you.
Fits the bill. We did mention Misa. Misa was the one that Shanger was like
kind of waffly. That's the tough one.
So because you're giving up an untapped potential 19-year-old possible. Who knows what he's going to be. But for me, Werenski is 28.
He is 28. Yeah.
I think that's
3 years. We got 2 years left after this year on his deal.
Yeah, I don't know that Columbus would do it, but
well, let's just say hypothetically they would do it. Misa's in the package.
Yeah.
Would you do it? Yay or nay? Let's go around the table.
So Werenski. So let's just hypothetical package Werenski for Misa. We'll throw in Eklund as like a and then we'll throw in a pick or something.
A defensive prospect. We can throw in. Yeah. Okay. In
All
Allen.
Right, so
okay.
Keegan, what do you think?
Yeah. Keegan,
I gotta go first. No, Z, you go first. You go first, bud.
So when you originally sent this, I didn't see the Misa, and I was like, 100 in a heartbeat, like 100%. Werenski's, I think, the perfect defenseman that you want for this squad right now. I don't think you can literally, other than a Makar, I think he's so perfect. His hockey IQ, I think, would slot perfectly in with the San Jose Sharks. His ability to puck move, play in the offensive zone. He's great on the rush. He's got an unreal shot. I'm a huge Werenski fan. He could defend. But I just think
he's still in his prime. He's still in his prime.
He's still in his prime, but I think that prime, you're gonna start to see a decline at 32, 34.
I understand. Yep,
right? And so you're leveraging Misa
4 or 5 years. 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years, and you're leveraging Misa, who's only gonna. I think I'm a big Misa fan. Like from the beginning of the season, because I watched him in the O a lot. I'm a big Misa fan. I think a number 2C is such an important role. I think a better opportunity, like you said, like a Radish out there. I think you look for the right one. But if you can get the Quinn Hughes deal on a Werenski without leveraging Misa, and you're giving up in Eklund, a Musty, I guess Dickinson might have to go in that if it was like a Hughes comp.
Yeah, no, you can't trade Dickinson. Anyway,
yeah, you can't trade Dickinson now. Well,
you can't. You trade we talked about this before. You trade your first this year, the San Jose first, and you trade the Edmonton first, and you hope that the San Jose first is the equivalent of Dickinson to the other team.
Yeah, so I would do that, but I would not do the Misa. That's my statement.
I'm gonna surprise everybody if it's just Eklund and Misa, like it's just those two, and you're not giving up another first or whatever. I think I'd do it. I think it's that important with this, the way that I like Misa. I like him a lot.
I like him too, and I feel bad. He's gonna, if he ever watches this,
he's gonna become a
like,
120 point scorer.
Boyle's an asshole. I hope he fucking shoves it up my ass. And
it was Boyle's idea. Michael,
only because
I hope he does. I really hope he does.
It fits so good. It fits really well. You still have Smith, and I know that Wilmack is a thing, Smith and Celebrini connection, but you still have Smith as a potential 2C. You can still put him back to center. You can still draft another one. We might win the lottery this year and get a Gavin McKenna at number 1, or you might be able to still draft a high-end forward like Tynan Lawrence at number 9 or whatever. Like Misa is more of a sure thing than the guy you could get at 9, but I think Werenski makes this team like an instant playoff team and an instant competitive team.
And Shenger, I know we're going to let you talk, and if Misa does ever, I'm pulling for him. I hope he proves me wrong, if you will, but the way that I'm looking at it is you're getting a Norris Trophy defenseman for an untapped 19-year-old who may or may not become as good as we hope he will become. I guess I'm banking on more of a sure thing than an unknown. But
and you can finally move forward.
And only because this is the sore spot for the Sharks right now.
Yeah. You can move forward. You could say, like, we are done with this. We have this guy. We have, we have Askarov as a developer, but we have our number 1 center. We have our number 1 D. We're going to go forward for the next 5 to 8 years.
That's where my head's at. Shenger's going to say no, of course.
Well, what I want to add to it too, though, is that Mike Grier said pretty clearly yesterday that he was still thinking in a cautious kind of mode. And I'm not saying that what Mike is showing with his poker face is accurate, but if it is accurate, though, then that's not a deal that sounds like he would make at this point. Because
what about you? Would you make it?
Yeah, no,
GM Shangers.
Yeah, I just want to caveat that because I think it's really important, though, that I think that we might be in like entire fantasy land. But
yeah, we probably are.
100%. That's why he's GM.
Although the Columbus exit interviews were like not great. Like the whole situation in Columbus was fucking not great.
Yeah,
they were like,
no one cares about winning.
He doesn't. Zach Werenski told me. No, I'm just making this up.
Good point.
Zach Werenski. This is clickbait. Zach Werenski told me he wants to play with Macklin Celebrini.
Wow,
100%.
He never said that. He never said that.
100%.
But I know I'm saying like that whole locker room cleanout was because I would watching it, and Werenski did seem pretty down on the dumps, and then Rick Bones like a bonus like just rip it into him.
Wait, Keegan, you were watching it?
I don't want to go back.
I feel like you're watching like crash car wreck TV. You're just like, I want to pick the carcass of this team for the Sharks.
Well, I would be scared to go play for Rick Bonus next year if I was Werenski. So I would say Werenski.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
No.
Joe Thornton took in Celebrini.
Yeah.
Patrick took in Will, right? I'll take fucking Werenski. Come on over.
No way.
Boom.
Are you
I
serious?
think he's a little too
I got
old.
him.
But not Sam
Right, Mike?
Dickinson. Let's get this on the air. But
no,
not Sammy.
Not Dickinson.
Yeah.
Not Sammy D.
No. Werenski, I got a guest house next door.
Zach
for you, right
Werenski
there.
has made like $100 million. He doesn't need your fucking guest house.
Yeah.
Sam Dickinson.
He might win a
needed your
Norris
guest
this year.
house.
He's
you
fine.
weren't there for him in his time of need.
He might win the Norris this year. He's
Hey, quit bird watching.
Okay, let me answer the question though
yes,
myself.
Sheng. Would you do it? Eklund and Misa.
I would think very hard about it, but I think that I probably wouldn't for Hughes, because Hughes is a little bit younger. As long as you get a tacit like kind of agreement with his agent that he's probably going to resign unless he
It's a
hates
good
it here.
word.
You know, just sort of like it's unspoken. You can't like agree to it, but you talk to his agent like, hey, you know, like, is this kind of situation that you think your client will like, or is he gonna? If we're talking about Quinn Hughes here, or is he gonna like bolt to New Jersey to join his brothers?
Well, no,
first
okay,
chance
so
Oxford?
I guess I was assuming that he's here for the next 5 years.
Right.
yeah.
And so with Werenski,
It's hypothetical.
that is so tough because he is exactly what the Sharks need,
tough,
just like Hughes is exactly what the Sharks need too. And Hughes is a little younger, which helps a little bit.
All right.
Don't say
But
Matchbox 20.
I'm gonna
Don't say
say
Matchbox
no,
20.
though. I'm gonna say no.
Okay,
gonna say
we got to know.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no.
So we got
I'm gonna say no.
two yeses, two nos. We got
Yeah,
two
I
and
thought
two?
hard about it.
Wait,
but
who
yeah, I'm
said
gonna say
no besides Schenger?
I think Z.
I said no. I said with
Zubair,
Misa,
you said no?
I did.
Oh, because of Misa.
Because I love
Yeah,
Misa's
I
game,
love
and I
Misa
think he
too.
gives you 10
Yeah.
years at a 2C.
But-
I think
yeah, but
he's
here's
that
the-
good.
Well,
This-
a 2C that can be a 1C too. I think that's a
100%.
very important thing.
I
Like,
100%
equal feature
agree.
or better.
I
Yeah.
think he's that good.
The answer to this little 5-10 minute will be answered in 5 years.
Sick.
It'll be answered in 5 years. If Misa's a fucking stud,
Hey, we putting bets right now?
me and
Let's go.
Keegan,
Well,
We'll look
Werenski's
like
still going to be a
idiots.
stud too. I mean,
but
like, he's not
Werenski
gonna-
will. If Werenski somehow fucking
Yeah, if he
shits
becomes
the
bad.
bed and like goes the other way,
All
but
right.
No, we're idiots.
If you guys win in 5 years and like Misa's not a stud, then you guys treat me and Shangers out to the tasting room. We win. We treat you guys out to the tasting room in 5 years.
I love it.
Beautiful.
I know.
Yes,
Perfect.
Keegan, please fly
Well,
out.
how are
from
we have to
Providence
like put some.
100%.
for a
He'll be out
restaurant.
here.
And-
I will also throw in a Russian bride for Schenger.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, then I'm in.
Wow. Is that more or less than a dinner at the tasting club? Like, what is the cost?
It's
there?
definitely more than a tasting room.
Anything you want. Anything you want. I make that bet. I make that bet right now.
I do
Done.
want to say
Done.
that I feel like I want to apologize to Columbus
It's
fans.
too late to
If
change the man,
any
Keegan.
Columbus fan is on here, I'm not just sitting here like watching your team implode. It sucks that you guys missed the playoffs again.
It sure fucking sounds
really
like it.
does.
Keegan just
But,
prying
like,
for
and, like-
prospects for the Sharks.
I'm like, trade that guy, get him out of there. That's all I want.
May I take 45 seconds of your time to talk to the Sharks fan on my
Yeah.
behalf?
Okay.
Go do it.
I'm here. I was brought here for comedic relief. Okay, so I am very
Yeah, for sure.
sarcastic. I know some of the Shark fans are not happy that I said they wouldn't make the playoffs. I'm giving you my opinion. I want the Sharks to make the playoffs more than anyone. I want Misa to be the fucking stud that he's going to be. I'm here for comedic relief. I'm here to stir the shit. I'm here to be honest. I'm here to like think differently. So I just want the Shark fans to calm down. The ones that are like, "Oh my God, he doesn't want the Sharks to make the playoffs." I do want the Sharks to make the playoffs. I really do.
We all do.
But you're not
100%.
here for Sam Dickinson, though. Let's make that clear.
Sam Dickinson cannot live at my house, but
But
I will
he's here
say
for
this. I will say this. I did mention, who did I mention this to? Oh, I think I talked about it on TV, or was it with you guys? I would like to.
Yes, we talking about here.
Was
Coach
it
him.
here?
It was with you, me,
Yeah,
and
like
JD
I
and
want
Keegan.
to help him.
Yeah.
I feel like he can skate. He's big. He's strong. We talked about it. I feel like his game just needs some adjustment to where he
Okay.
can skate efficiently
Yes.
Thank you.
and be more offensive, and he can play more and
Dude.
not work as hard. And I'm a fan. I'm not a fan in the sense of like, I feel like there's a lot of, he can do a lot better. I feel like I don't want him to think, oh, I had a really good first year. This is who I am. I think there's more there.
I totally agree
absolutely.
with you, and I said it last week too. I noticed it in his stride, and I noticed him in his hesitation, and you brought it up, and then I started seeing him in that way, and they got to let him loose. Let the bird fly.
There's a lot of there's a lot of stopping and starting.
100%.
There's a lot of, and I'm sure we're going to talk about Luca Cagnoni.
Well, that's where I was going to transition to. So we've all watched some tape on Luca
Cagnoni.
And
you just don't pronounce the G. It's just Cagnoni, I think.
Cagnoni.
Yeah.
And okay, so let's go into some of our thoughts. I watched a lot of clips of him. Schenger's gave us some clips on all his shifts, and we sort of reviewed that. Let's obviously start with Dan. Dan, your thoughts on Luca?
Next year is a big year for him. Okay, so he's been in the minors now a couple years in a row. Didn't get a lick or a taste until 4 games left in the season. That's not going to be good enough. What I've seen, I haven't watched any Barracuda games, so I can't speak of what he did in the minors, but first shift of the first game, he went behind the net, took a hit, rolled off, and jumped up the ice. Okay, Jason Demers, I think, had a little breakdown of it. I'm not sure if it was on Twitter or wherever it was, but it was perfectly said. That is a way of being efficient, going back for the puck, and where Sam would have maybe stopped and dished it, taken the hit, and then the play's dead. As an offensive D-man, if you can learn to go back, dish, roll off of a hit, continue your momentum, beat the forwards up the ice, which he did. He almost had like not a breakaway, but he had that pass back door that, you know what I mean? So from the very little bit of sample that I've seen, I really liked what I saw. I think his skating is there. I think his shot is there. There's a lot of good things, but if I'm him now, I'm in year 3 or 4. This is a make it or break it. You got a guy named Pohlkamp, if I'm pronouncing that one right, who's coming for your job. He's coming for your job. If you don't fucking take this next training camp by the fucking horns and try to make this team, and you're not there, and he reminds me of me, and I have a soft spot for small D-men. You're not there to be physical, and you're not there to play good defense. You are there because you're an offensive defenseman. You run a power play. So fucking do it. And so my advice to him is show us in a small sample size what you did. The problem is it wasn't high pressure. This is end of the year. The team's out of the playoffs. So then part of me is like, okay, well, there's nothing to lose here. But that's the way he's got to treat his career, which is where I was. I was in Florida. I was not getting in the lineup. I was at that, I'm going to be out of the league. And he could potentially be one of those guys. Or do you want to play in the minors for the next 7 or 8 years? So I'm looking forward to what he's going to do next year. I think there's a lot of potential there. I just think Pohlkamp, whoever, or, I obviously I don't know a lot about him, but sounds like he's a guy that's going to have the inside track as well. So there might be fighting for possibly the same ice time. But I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw in the short, 3 or 4 games that I saw him play.
I thought that offensively, especially the Chicago game, I thought that he was the most comfortable that I've seen him, especially in that first period. Once the game kind of went away, and I guess that's something about most young players that once the team starts playing like crap, they can't really change it because they're not quite there yet. Macklin can because he's Macklin, but most young players, they go where the team goes kind of, and that's where Luca kind of is, if we're being honest, right? But if I were to ask you, Dan, though, do you remember the play against Nashville where he gets into a one-on-one with Leheru? I may be saying his name wrong.
I remember. Yeah, I remember you sending me the clip. I gotta think about it. Tell me more. Just remind me real quick.
Basically, it just was a one-on-one. I don't remember how exactly it happened, but Leheru got the puck. It was just him and Cagnoni. And even though you say that Cagnoni doesn't, I think Cagnoni has to be usable defensively because I highly doubt, I could be wrong, but I highly doubt that he's so good offensively. He can prove us wrong, but I highly doubt he's so good offensively like Erik Karlsson or like you were or like other players that he can still be played. He's not 100 points scorer.
You can't be a liability. Listen, I never had 100 points as an offensive defenseman. I didn't cheat though. I was a reliable defenseman. I mean, me and Pickles were a shutdown pair for a couple years here with the Sharks. So I I'm not saying like completely forget about the D zone. You want to be reliable. So, he's going to have to be stronger. He's going to have to be positionally sound defensively. And I just don't need him to be the greatest defenseman of all time is what I'm saying. I'm just saying like, but you can't be a fucking liability out there. Right.
I just want to add about that specific play, though, that I wondered about with you, though, is that because Leroux is like 5'11", right? He's not, this is not Tom Wilson coming at you or whatever, right?
Yeah, but he's
and
a
so
physical
I
dude,
feel like
Leroux is.
He is.
Guy.
But I just felt like that was like kind of a barometer of a kind of player that you want him to be able to take if you are really thinking of him as being a full-time NHLer.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to handle, like I said, you can have your one-off, your once in a blue moon you get beat or whatever, but again, I don't want to bullshit my way through this conversation. I haven't seen enough of him to know yet. I think, I mean, I remember my deal with Torts was like, take care of your D zone, I'll let you do whatever you want offensively. Well, the same can be said for him as well. Just make sure you take care of the people you're supposed to, take care of your zone, break out the puck when you can, and then you can get creative offensively. But if you don't want to see him get out muscled by a guy who's his own size too often, or else at some point the leash is very short. When you're 5'10" and under in a D-man, your leash is really, really fucking short. So he's going to get bypassed. And
how do we get him in there to build up his shoulders? I don't know. He's just got to get a little bit wider, a little bit more like he can get under guys. I said that before he got called up, that he's got to be able to leverage his small size in some kind of way. He hasn't really...
You guys have watched him a lot more than me. Does he have like a little bit of a mean streak, like a prick in him, or no? And that might not be there. That might not be there.
Yeah. But he's very calm. Like he's a super calm defender. He doesn't
calm is good.
Calm is good, but it also means that he doesn't have like a mean streak. He doesn't try and like strip pucks off of guys and that kind of thing.
For those that, shit, this sounds like it's a Dan Boyle hour again, but for those of the new,
we need music. We need a sponsor for that.
Yeah, it's not just me. Like Makar, I'll look at other. Like you have to be a little of a prick when you're under.
You worked with Sam Girard, and Sam Girard's a great
just like Cagnoni. Be a little. You got to be like, you just have to, because your leash is so short, and if you're passive at 5'9" on the back end, and you're not getting 2-3 points a night, you're not going to play.
So
you're not going to play.
Were you nasty like when you were like playing?
Game
in the league?
When I was in juniors, like my cousin, who, by the way, we had 3 Boyles on one team, which was fucking hilarious.
Are you serious? Oh my God. That sounds like a great story.
Yeah. So my cousin Pat is a year older than me. My cousin Marty was my D partner. So Marty, Pat, and Dan.
Wait, how old were you? What team was this?
I was 16. Marty was
okay.
No, sorry, I was 17. Marty was 16. Pat was 18. And we would kill penalties 5-on-3, so we'd be the only 3. Yeah. So there's like a show. My name is Boaz. My brother Boaz. My other brother. There's Daryl. I don't know. I'm totally deviating. But no, I in juniors I had like 120 minutes of penalties. I had like 140 minutes one year. I wasn't like, I'm not gonna say I'm like tough, like I'm this tough guy, but I was chippy, I was dirty, and I needed to be, because when you're smaller, guys will not respect the space. They'll think they can get to the net on you because you're a little shrimp, or you're just a little fucking nothing. You may not be able to, physically outpower someone, but you might need to fucking butt end them or cross check them or slash them or something. And then you become this like player that has a chip on his shoulder. And I think to me, that's an advantage as far as getting, extending your leash. And, for coaches, they would prefer to like that, versus a guy that's just kind of calm and chill.
This is why I'm thinking, like you said, that there's a guy named Pohlkamp that could be coming for his job, right? Like Pohlkamp has nastiness.
He does, and I watched the Denver game, the final game.
Yeah.
I had never seen him play, and I watched it, and he went for a big hit on his first shift, like this big fucking crazy hit, and I was like, is this guy like? But he's only he's like 5'11", so he's not
5'11".
Yeah, he's a little.
He's
tall.
not like he's not a monster or anything.
He's more like a bowling ball type. But anyway, the team he played on was the Gloucester Rangers.
Gloucester Rangers, yeah.
And then now,
are you looking at my stats?
I don't know this.
Central Junior Hockey League.
155.
155
Tims.
Yep,
Yep.
So
Wow.
and that's what, like an 80-game schedule, right?
But
80.
53. Oh, no. Yeah, 53 games. 53 games. You average 3 Tims a night.
So this is actually a really funny. I have another Dan Boyle story that you don't know about. But do you remember the lockout skates with like Havlat, Marlowe? Do you remember those?
I remember the half lockout year. We used to bring these. Were you there? Did you skate with us?
Yes, I was.
Oh my God, I don't remember. I didn't know that.
Did you get checked into the boards?
No, but like,
I want to hear the story. But I remember, so we were trying to get in shape, and then we brought in like, college players or whoever was here, and
so it was a lockout season, and
skated with a bunch.
They wanted some people to skate with. Marlowe was there. You were there. Havlat was there that year, and dude, Havlat was nasty. I was like, holy shit! Like his hands were ridiculous. And then, I was there for a couple. My buddy Forney was there, and my buddy Lionel was there. And I wasn't there at the time this happened, but I think I only did 2 with you guys. But Lionel was there more consistently, and we were up at the bar at Stanley's after one of my beer league games a couple weeks ago, and he's like, dude, we were talking about your competitiveness. And just like how like you're fucking like, because you open iced a guy on a 3-on-3 tournament on feet, like you're nuts, dude. And so we were talking about it, and I didn't know this. And Lionel's like, dude, I didn't tell you this before when we were playing during the lockout. But he's like, I went up against Boilers and I made a move, and he just grabbed me and slammed me against the fucking boards. Like,
I don't remember.
Straight up, just like grabbed him and pushed him. And I was like, you ain't getting through, bud. Like, there's no rest, but I don't care. Like, you are locked up against this thing, and you just fucking pinned him. And he's like, dude, and he was like, dude, he was so competitive. And I think that is something that you either have or don't have.
I agree. I think it's innate. And you guy like Logan, who we had on the podcast, who I loved, just had that competitive. Macklin obviously has it now, and there's a long list of players that do. But again, talk about what you know about. I'm not going to sit here and talk about rugby. I'm not going to talk about political science. I don't know shit about that stuff. What I do know about is what it's like to be an undersized defenseman playing hockey. That's what I know. And if we're talking about Cagnoni, I'm fucked it up again. Cagnoni?
Cagnoni. Yeah, Cagnoni.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Cagnoni.
I can speak.
Leave the G.
I can speak
take the
to him.
Cagnoni.
So, and yeah, if it's not in there though, it's not in there. But I would like.
We're not saying he doesn't have it, by the way. But yeah,
yes,
we're
not saying
I just haven't seen. I haven't seen.
It's kind of the prevailing thing. I will say I liked a lot of him offensively. I do think that even Grier said it. Like he runs a power play super well at the AHL level, so why not give him a shot at the NHL level? And he looks good on it. So how do you get that? And the Sharks don't have guys right now that can do that. So
who? I'm gonna fire my own quick little thumbs up or thumbs down. Is number 3 coming back next year? Go
down. I don't think he's coming back.
Okay.
I think it was a good send off.
I love John. John's a great guy, but
I love him
I don't
too.
think it's happening. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think it's happening. He's walking.
All right.
Okay, so
I mean, who knows? But we really, unless they like don't hit anybody in free agency.
And we can all agree that Orlov, has his strengths, but he's not your PP1 guy.
Well,
no, dude, he's in an unfair position. But I thought he had a great season. He was just put in situations he wasn't built for.
He's not your PP1. He's not your PP1 guy.
No,
he should have.
This is a good time to say, like, I watched all the Luca clips. I watched him in the Barracuda last year, this year less, but I have seen him this year in the Cuda. The things I did notice with him in his games with the Sharks, a couple of things that I was actually really impressed with, a couple of things that I have critiques on, but those critiques also shouldn't be taken too seriously because it's only a couple of games. So both either the positives and negatives, I don't think the sample size is large enough yet to make like large assertions on.
Yeah.
However,
I think he gets a run next year.
I do think he gets a run. And I think what I like from him and why he gets a run is because, and I don't think he's necessarily competing with Pohlkamp. They are, but I think there's actually space for both of them. I think that the reason Luca looked good to me is his gap control was spectacular in so many situations where the Sharks just don't have people that can skate. I saw a significant improvement in his skating ability from last year to this year, and particularly in his gap control. And he's even though like we critique a lot of times plays with defensemen, like the one-on-ones or the board play he had where a guy rolled off him and he exposed the inside.
Oh, yeah, Bertuzzi. Yeah, that was a bad one. Yeah.
That was bad. Like he exposed the inside. It was bad angling, bad positioning. However, like we see that stuff, but there were so many plays that got prevented from even getting into our zone by him stopping guys in the neutral zone, on our blue line, in the offensive zone, that to Dan's point earlier, where, you know, puck moving defensemen that can skate, they trap plays off the puck really well. And he did that in so many subtle plays.
Yeah, that's the thing. And a lot of people want, and I know the Sharks do need a defensive defenseman, but an offensive defenseman is not just scoring points. It's just control of the puck offensively, but just shutting down plays by being up the ice. And that's, to me, that's where I want Sam to get better, is just like learning to be up in the play, but not out of the play, learning to like shut a play down at the, you know, between the offensive blue line and the red line versus having to skate back, and just keeping his momentum going. And he'll be able to play 22, 23, 24 minutes a night next year. And it'll be easier than playing the 19 or 18 he's playing right now, because it's going to be efficient skating, which is what Hughes, Makar's my favorite D-man, but Hughes this year has really opened my eyes to just the efficiency of how he plays, and every time he's got the puck. And other teams now, I've talked about this with receivers, like they don't even like, he's got all the fucking room in the world. Playoff game, he had all the room in the world.
I had a coach once tell me, hey, you ever see like a cobra? You don't know what it's going to do, so you sort of back up and respect it. And that's how you want to be with the puck sometimes. And it's like, even Luca in the offensive zone, like look at Macklin, like people won't rush him because they know they can get exposed. So you get that respect. Luca sort of commanded some of that respect with the puck. And you do that by your demeanor, knowing like he can spin off you, he could pass. And Luca had flashes of that. Again, he had some mistakes. I think that's stuff that you got to be patient with. Those are things that you got to learn experientially, especially with the defenseman in size. I think he could develop just the right amount of bite, but I liked his gap control. I liked his skating. I liked his poise with the puck. I liked his decision-making when he had the puck. On the power play, the guys he would dish to give time. You'll notice with other PP1 guys, whether it's Klingberg or Orlov, they'll often give to the guy with the least amount of space, and they'll trap guys with the passes that they choose. Luca was giving to the right guy every single time. Those are areas where I saw really great stuff. I think that they let Luca marinate because he is a smaller defenseman. And when the time's right, I think there's a slot on this team for him. I really do. And
I think based on the roster now, there's a place, but I want to go back to last year, and we thought that Shakir was going to be, based on his end of season play, that, oh, this guy was going to be a guy for the Sharks. And so this end of season hockey, there is and you acknowledged it, you know, what you said, right? Small sample size, and, you know, they played against Chicago and Winnipeg, which weren't meaningful games. Nashville was to Nashville, but anyway, though, that like, I still need to see more myself. I did like what I see. Definitely a noticeable upgrade from last year. Yeah, for sure. No question about it. I'm not going to take that away from him. But I'm not sure that he can't be, someone can get ahead of him, be ahead of him based on free agency or trades, that they add somebody that just like,
How do we find him his John Tortorella? Do we just lock him in a room with Dan Boyle and have Dan yell at him until he hates him so much?
I wouldn't necessarily yell at him.
Dan wouldn't yell at him. Look at what JD said about Dan. Dan's for the boys. We know that.
I know. I'm just joking.
I present incorrectly. I'm not a yeller. I
know you're not.
I'm on the media side now, so I like to talk shit. But no, when I'm a teammate, man, I fucking, you know, I remember like Matty Irwin, you know, for example, like I never said a bad thing to Matty. I just encouraged him, and I would do the same thing.
How do we get him mean?
I think some of that is innate. So the four of us can agree, assuming that Ferraro and who else is Desharnais. Let's assume Desharnais comes back. Sam comes back, obviously. You got Mukhamadullin.
Yeah, Mukhamadullin, and
then
you have Orlov.
So there's four guys, right?
Yeah.
So there's
Luca.
there's three spots, right?
Yeah.
Can we agree there's three spots?
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
So you got Cagnoni. I'm going to butcher his name again.
Cagnoni.
Cagnoni.
You leave
You
the
got
G.
Cagnoni. You got Pohlkamp, and you got 2 or 3 unknowns at this moment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Competing,
There's room.
But then you've got 3 of your 60 that are under 6 foot, and that doesn't
I don't think you
happen
got 2
very
rookies break camp with this team.
Orlov's
if you're being
probably
serious
just 6
about
foot.
playoff
You think
spot.
it's Pohlkamp or Cagnoni?
Cagnoni.
Yeah.
You think it's one of the? You think it's one or the other?
I don't think it's a versus thing, but in the sense of like, what's the likelihood of a serious Sharks team trying to make the playoffs next year, starting the season with 2 rookies, both under 6 foot?
Well, I think they just. I think they give
yeah.
Pohlkamp time in the AHL just because he hasn't had AHL time.
Right.
So,
And that could be a differentiator, right?
Also, what you missed, Dan, last week is I think I was the only one here, but I think that Sam Dickinson would benefit from spending at least 20 games to marinate in the AHL next season. He couldn't go this year because of rules,
shit.
but I actually think he should marinate for a little bit at the beginning of next season.
You've got to sign somebody else then.
I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. Like even
I don't
Grier's
know.
words,
I don't know if I think that's going to happen either.
Okay.
Grier was saying stuff that just didn't make me think that he was even thinking of that plan.
I think he needs to watch a lot of video this summer of whoever they want to, if they want to send him Makar videos or Hughes videos or Darlene videos from Buffalo.
He says that he likes Miro Heiskanen. So that's what he said
then
before.
perfect.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's actually a great example because look at Heiskanen's stride.
So I would, if I was the coach, I would send him videos of whoever player he likes, feels like he can play like, and have him watch some of those. Yeah, because there's a lot of untapped potential there. I think good skater, good size. Just he needs to take a huge, a much bigger step next year. And what is he? He's 19 years old. So
he's made 20. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So let's talk about this because you have experience with so many coaches, and Warsofsky's performance. Another year for Warsofsky, for great year. In so many ways and capacities. What's your assessment of how Warsofsky did this year, Dan?
Well, I'm not in the locker room,
Yeah,
obviously, so I can't speak to what all the guys are thinking. From the media side, or from my couch, or from the rafters when I went to the game, I think he deserves another opportunity. Like I don't know if firing him is even in the universe or not. I believe he should be should be the coach next year. I did read something about him like learning when to get mean, when to like hug guys and stuff. And I think
Did you read that on
was
NBC
that a Sheng
Sports
Peng
Bay
article?
Area
Was that a Sheng Peng article? It may have been the Sheng
thing last week,
or maybe it was the Curtis article. I don't know, the better one. No, I think he's learning too. I mean, he's a young guy and he's learning. I've always hated the coaches that have been like, we are one team, we're going to play one way, and this is what we do. And it's like, I go back to my old teammate, Marty St. Louis, like you are coaching a team, you're going to have team strategies, but you are coaching 22 individuals. And again, not being in the locker room, I'd like to think that, coach will learn what can elevate player A from player B from player C, and guys are different. I speaking for myself, I did not need to get my ass kicked. I did not need to get chewed out. I did not need to get, told what to do. I played better when I was told to loosen up, play my game, trust my instincts, release the fucking hounds, let me play. And that's when I was at my best. So, I don't know Sam Dickinson personally. I don't know what will work for him, but it may be let him play. I don't know. So I think coach did a good job. Obviously, we did not think we'd be fighting for a playoff spot this year. We did. Macklin was a huge part of that. Will Smith, Wenberg, a few guys as well were a big part of that. But he certainly deserves another opportunity. And then next year you see where the team goes, because now the expectations are higher now. I thought this team was 2 or 3 years away from making the playoffs. And now you're like, if they don't make the playoffs next year, probably feels like a fucking disappointment. So, yeah, I would take a player's word more than mine as far as what his job or what he brings to the table, and hopefully he's a good motivator.
It's hard to fire somebody after they increase by 32 points or whatever.
34.
100%.
34 points.
Exactly.
It's hard to be like,
100%.
maybe not. I know you got to leave in a minute, Dad.
Yeah, I do.
Completely aside, are you rooting for your old buddy Marty St. Louis and his coaching of the Montreal Canadiens or the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Stanley Cup playoffs? I watched them tonight, and Marty got a win tonight.
I took my kids to see a movie tonight, so I did not see. I saw the start of the game and saw the overtime result. I find myself pulling for Marty more than I have the Lightning. Obviously, Tampa has a special place in my heart, but Marty was one of the greatest teammates. I've said the best player I've played with. Exactly. We talk about Macklin, like the heart and soul will fucking do anything. Marty was that guy. And so Tampa's got, 3 cups now? They've won 2 in the last few years. I'm pulling for Marty.
Love it.
So,
love it, love it.
by the way, Dan, I didn't get to thank you because when I did Montreal's pregame interviews, you gave me a little question to ask Marty.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I asked, so it was like interviews were over, and then I talked to PR, and like, he's like
Queen
Dan's-
kicker?
Yeah, exactly. And his answer was, I probably would. And then after that, he's like, I probably would. And
That's an inside joke, people. It's an inside joke. But
So we talked about this the first night we ever met. I'm a legs guy. Marty's got the best legs.
He's got some legs.
Dude, he's a freaking beauty. I used to watch his workouts when I was like younger. Like I was like, I want to work out like Marty. Like I love the way he plays. So then he was like, do you want to go for he's like, you just walk with me. Let's go for a walk.
oh, really? I didn't know this. I didn't know
Yeah.
this.
So we took the elevator down, and he was headphones in, AirPods in, ready to go for a run. And honestly, I was like, I don't want to take up any more of your time. And he's like, just wanted to talk hockey.
Oh, that's
And
great.
So the next thing you know, we're just walking down the row in hockey, and I'm like, should I leave? But he's still chatting. And
Oh, that's awesome.
it was
That's
amazing
great.
just to go for a walk with Martin St. Louis.
Awesome.
He's and if you've been listening to the podcast this year and me being part of it, thank you guys for including me. I obviously have a soft spot for the underdog and the hard worker and the Rudy type of player, and Marty exemplifies that. Just a fucking great person, great player. Went through some struggles early, but it went from coaching his fucking son at 13 to coaching the Montreal Canadiens.
It's insane. Yeah.
It's wild. And, he's done a great job. Players love playing for him. He coaches the right way. Like I said, he's coaching individuals, even though it's a team sport, and you do have your, and he just says all the right things. He pushes all the right buttons, and he's a pretty awesome dude, man.
And they got their late nuts, and that's their Danny Boyle on the back end there.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's great. That's fucking great. And they got Caulfield. They got 2 little fucking short guys, Suzuki and Caulfield, running the show over there. And
And this is why. Well, so this goes back to the Warsofsky question, because I 100% think Warsofsky deserves another year. I thought he did a fantastic job. I think he's a great coach in so many ways. But my only critique is, you've said it a couple of times about Martin St. Louis, you coach the individual. And I think about this a lot. I think that the role of a coach is to make everyone better, every individual a little better.
and everybody's different.
And everyone's different. And
Everyone is
I think about this with Mukhamadullin, and I think about this with some of the guys on the Sharks. And I hope Luca's given a little bit of grace, with his mistakes. I think generally speaking, like people with, you've said it a lot, Dan, and I think about, so much of what you say, because of your experience in the league and the accomplishments you have, and like opportunity is what you talk about a lot too. And
100%. Yeah. Yeah. You have to get the opportunity. You have to get the opportunity. And I will say this too, and we're talking about Warsofsky. Is it Doug Huda who's on the back end?
Yeah, he's defense.
So
and DK.
like for me in Tampa, we talk about John Tortorella. But for me in Tampa, Craig Ramsey was my safe space. So you can talk about, I'm going to butcher Warsofsky.
Warsofsky.
You should know you golf with him.
Okay, no,
I know I have. He's got
Yeah.
a huge drive. The rest of his game, horse shit. But his driver is really good. But we talk about the head coach a lot, but the assistant coach has a very, very important job as well.
Yeah, that's a good
for a Sam Dickinson, for
Yeah.
a Lucas Cagnoni.
Luca, you almost got it. Luca.
I said Lucas. Luca.
Yeah, Lucas.
God
we got a
damn
Lucas
it.
Carlson down
I promise,
there.
guys, I'm not drunk. I promise.
Just tired.
I think for me, like Craig Ramsey in Tampa was my fucking knight in shining armor. I mean, Torts would come down and just fucking rip me a new one. And I think I've talked about this on the podcast, and Craig Ramsey would come over and go, you know what he just said to you? Yeah, do the opposite. I was like, it was like weight off my shoulders. Or I think I talked about this as well, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself. But one time we're like in the second period, I don't know what game it was. Rammer comes down and goes, I haven't seen a spinorama backhand sauce through the middle yet. Can we see that?
Nice.
And it was just his way of like loosening me up. And so we can talk about the head coach, and the head coach has an important job, but the D coach, I'm sure I was never a forward, but the forward coach probably has his own job. The D coach has an important job too. Learn who your person is, learn what makes them tick. And player A and player B and player C are going to be very different. Player A may want to be told, where do I need to go? How do I need to get there? And what do I need to do? And I know some of those players. Some players are like, tell me where to go, tell me what to do, and I will fucking do it. I was the opposite of that. And so Doug Huda, who I don't know, hoping has done a great job. I'm not sure. But learn their players, learn who they are, learn what makes them tick. And hopefully the coaching staff as a whole will improve as well as the team has this as well.
Okay, I just wanted to ask you, actually, jump ahead to I just want to make sure, did we get all your thoughts on Eric Pohlkamp before you leave? Because we're going to talk about him very briefly, but do you have any more thoughts about seeing him play?
Well, obviously I don't know him. I watched him play in the Denver or the game. For me, selfishly, this is my ego talking. We have very similar stats. I never got drafted. He's drafted, and he's like the second coming of Christ in San Jose now. So
yeah.
Shout out to all the players, not just me, but the players that have, allowed this like shorter defenseman now to become who they can become. But I'm very excited from what I saw in just a short sample size. But I'm super excited to see what he brings.
Okay.
No longer is it like, can this guy, I hope he cracks. I know you guys have mentioned
100%.
he might need some time in the Barracuda.
No,
I hope he cracks the opening night roster.
I think he's making the Sharks.
That's what I hope.
So
That's
I've
what
been
I hope.
watching him from like pretty much day one of when they drafted him, because he went to Bemidji State, where Jean, who you've met, her first job out of grad school was at Bemidji State. So like the second he got drafted, I'm like, oh dude, I'm gonna watch this kid. And I was like, from day one, I was like, this kid's making the show. And then he made World Juniors, third line D, worked his way up, like performed. So I watched the whole arc of his story, and I'm like, I'm not shocked by
He's
his
a
performance.
fifth rounder.
I think he was
fifth rounder.
fifth.
Yeah. I'm not shocked by
And
any of
he's
his
so
BS or
like
something.
it still bothers me. This is my ego talking again. He's a fucking Hobie Baker, one of the best defensemen in college hockey, and he's a 5th rounder.
Well, when they drafted him, he was at Bemidji State still. No offense to Bemidji.
No, I think he was at the USHL when they drafted him.
Okay, so all right.
Gene's
Yeah,
first
yeah,
job out of
at
grad
least he-
school.
at least he
Sheng,
got
I'm telling her
drafted.
that.
He was going to Bemidji State.
He was
At least
going,
he got
and he had been to
drafted.
college.
He was committed.
Which
yeah.
I've
he
been
was a
to,
draft
Paul
plus one,
Bunyan
so he got
school, by
he
the
got
way.
passed over by 1 year and then got drafted in his
Yes.
second year.
Well, at least he got drafted.
He did
And, yeah. Well, so
eventually.
yeah, no, I think he's making it. He's got the attitude. He's got the personality. He's got
will.
the shot. He's a little tank. He's built like a little linebacker. He used to actually train like a linebacker and change the way that he's been training the last like year and a half to 2 years.
He trained as a linebacker? Is that what you said?
His workouts, like yeah, he's talked about
were
this
they?
before
Oh,
too.
okay.
Yeah, he used to train
Okay,
more
cool.
like linebacker, running back, sort of football.
He does
style
look like a
training.
linebacker. Or a
He
running
does, yeah.
back,
But then he
that's
sort of
true. Yeah.
shifted this like since he was a DU, he sort of shifted his training style to become a little more like.
And he played all those games hurt too. Like the last 2-3 games he played
Yeah.
hurt, just to try and win the championship.
Do you know what the
there.
injury
would
was,
add-
Keegan?
I think he
It's
hurt his
hand
finger.
and foot. It's both hand and foot.
Because
actually.
I
That's
saw
what
the
Carl-
pinky on
Carl
like
said.
the championship figures, like he had a little.
Yeah.
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 So, but I didn't see the foot. Yeah. So I was like, it had to be
That's
more
what
though.
might prevent him in terms of what Mike Grier said yesterday, prevent him from playing for the Barracuda this playoff run. But they said that they're going to look at it next week. So maybe he will join the Barracuda on an ATO. He has an ELC already, but an ATO for just the Barracuda. So
I know, and he has that snarl. He has that attitude. He's got it. But again, going back, I think Luca's got something special too. I think the upside is, I think there's a cap on it for sure, but I think there's a space for him in this lineup too. And
Okay. And I don't know if a Radish is coming, but I hope they find a Radish somewhere.
so
They're there.
well,
They're there.
let's put this. Let's talk about this because this goes back to the Warsofsky thing. Where do you ride someone out because of their age? Because I think that like
what do you mean by write somebody out?
like
Yeah, I don't understand the
Mukhamadullin
question.
is like he's been pro for a couple of years.
Okay, he's 24. Yeah.
He's 24, but maybe he just is on a different development path because I even see Mukhamadullin as still being a very competent NHLer. I think he needs to be given, and this is my critique of Warsofsky, by the way.
I'm not getting rid of Mukhamadullin personally.
100%.
I mean, you have no
not-
options. So
I'm
you
not
don't have a
giving-
lot of
I'm not
options,
giving
but
up
yeah,
on him.
so yeah,
Absolutely.
100%
I mean, I
not.
keep him, but yeah.
But then if he makes the mistakes that he makes, do you bench him or do you give him the chance to grow? And that's my only critique.
No, you're putting it in a way that's not the way. That's like too simple. Like it's not as simple of like give a chance to guy to grow or bench him. Like you're trying to win games ultimately. That's what it comes down to. And so I presume whatever team that Mike Grier fields next year, you add a Darren Radish, you add whoever you want to add, right? You have Macklin Celebrini, you're trying to win games. And so even this past year, Mukhamadullin got sat because they thought that Nick Leddy or whoever you down the line you pick was going to help them win games more. And that's just what it came down to. And the team was good enough that was a real conversation. This wasn't.
But is
this
that
wasn't
not
the last 4 years where like the team was still like it's January and the team is 30 points out of playoffs and okay, let's just develop guys. But they were in it for until the third to last game of the year. So you have to think that way.
If I'm the coach, I'm early on saying I'm going to give him. He doesn't know this, but I'm going to give him 5 games. I'm not going to bench him. I'm going to play the fuck out of him. And I'm going to cheer him. I'm going to fucking pat him on the back. I'm going to just give him 5 to 6 games where I'm just like, and if after 5 or 6 games he's still fucking up, then maybe you got to go a different route. But he might just need some love. You know?
That's what I'm thinking. 100%.
I like him as a 4 or 5. I don't even like him as a 6 or 7. I think he's good enough as a 4 or 5.
He's got ability, yeah, it's not that.
Yeah,
I think he's a little afraid right now.
Coaching staff can help. It's not
Yes.
fun. Yeah, it's not fun to play when you're nervous about being sat out or being benched. Maybe another summer, get a little more confidence and
get some of that
give him a
dad
big
strength.
hug.
Is it?
Big
Give him a
hug.
hug. Tell him he's fine. Tell him he can make a mistake. Let him rip.
How do you know he hasn't done that though? That's what I'm saying.
Well, we don't.
You're
We
a
don't.
lot of assumptions.
We don't know.
about it.
We
Yeah.
don't know. But what
Yeah.
I will say,
Yeah.
is and again, this is my only critique. I love Warsofsky. I think he's a great job. He's a great coach. He's a young coach. I said it last week. He's a coach in development. Dan said that tonight too. I think he 100% needs to lead this team next year. The one thing I want to see improvement from is I want to see even in closing speeches, he gets emotional, and I love that. And he talks about who's special. I don't hear Mukhamadullin name in there. I don't hear
you watch clips of select locker room speeches. That's what I mean. You're jumping to a lot of conclusions that aren't there.
Well, that's all I have is that.
Yeah.
So my observation is only based on that data. It's limited data.
But he's talked up Shakir, when Shakir has played well after that Edmonton game. He said nice things about him.
But I want to see it consistently because some people need to be coached individually. And some people need that hug, that pat on the back, and that opportunity.
All right. Well, let's not let the assistant coaches off the hook either. They play a huge,
that's exactly right about
they
that.
Play
100%.
They play a huge part because your head coach, and again, I had Torts who was, unique.
Torts got to win tonight too.
Yeah, right.
He just won 4-2, and
I know. You need. Again, I'm not comparing Torts to Warsofsky, but your assistants play a part. They're not 100%. Just fucking there as window dressing, they're there sometimes to say what Craig Ramsey said to me. Sometimes if the head coach comes in and says something, you might need to say something else.
And for what it's worth with Doug Huda, he's actually the most experienced coach on the Sharks staff. He coached Zdeno Chara, the Boston Bruins team that won the Stanley Cup. He was the defense PK guy. I'm not saying that makes him the right person for this job, but I'm saying that he is very, very experienced in this. And so, I think that a presumption that the coaches do not coach the guys individually is just, I don't see any substance to that. I think Warsofsky does it. I presume that Doug Huda knows well enough to do that. There's no evidence in terms of suggestions that Doug is some sort of taskmaster or whatever, right? I think the quote unquote hugs are there for Shakir. Just the performance hasn't been. And that's just.
Okay. So my last question before I get off here.
Yeah.
Everyone here, I'm assuming, thinks the Sharks need to make the playoffs next year.
Need's a tough word.
I said my answer.
Need is the word I used because
I'll go first because I said my answer before. Let me. Do you think it's a disappointment if they don't? Disappointing year if they don't? No.
Yeah.
No. Because
I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I would say no, because it's just about individual player development. That's the biggest thing. So let's say if the individual players develop, then you assume they'll make the playoffs. So if Skrov takes a big step, if Will Smith takes a big step, let's say Macklin gets hurt, because that's if those guys. If
they finish with 79 points and they don't make the playoffs.
Well, but let's say Macklin got hurt and go ahead, though, Zubair.
Yeah, so I'll just finish my answer. I'll be 120 seconds. I think that.
Wow, he's going to count it down.
I'll be back. Hold on, girls.
Yeah, right.
Hold on.
I am not disappointed with the Sharks if they miss out on playoffs next year. I've been following this team since the first year. I want a Stanley Cup. I want a Stanley fucking Cup in San Jose. I want a fucking party. That's it. And what that takes is what Grier is willing to do, which is I'm not going to go all chips in. I'm building this team the right way from the ground up. And as long as I see progress, and I saw fantastic overachieved progress this year. The reason I don't like the points is because one of the biggest reasons the Sharks sniffed a playoff spot this year is because the Pacific fucking sucks.
Yeah, it did suck.
And again, to quote Connor McDavid, it was a pillow fight. So a lot of that measuring is relative to other teams, and I don't have control over that. The Sharks is what I want to see progress for.
All right.
And to Sheng's point, development.
2029.
No, I said 20. You and me and Ricci. I told
Rich
2029. 2030 is the year we're pushing.
For Zach Werenski.
2030 is when we're actually pushing for the cup. We'll make playoffs before that. Yeah. But the cup, I said 2030, and I'm sticking to it. That's when we're cup pushing.
Right.
We have a chance.
2029 just because of Macklin.
For when they win, or when they're pushing for the cup, or when they make the playoffs?
They're in the Stanley Cup Finals in 2029.
Okay.
Ooh, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
That's 3 years, right? That's 3 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah, 27, 28, 29. Yep.
But I get to change that based on who they sign and who they get in the summer.
exactly. Whether or not Macklin leaves. If Macklin leaves, then
Oh yeah,
2050.
obviously.
If Connor McDavid comes in 2 years, I'm changing it.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta go.
All right, Dan.
Thank you guys.
Great to have you.
Thanks for everyone for listening, and I appreciate everyone.
Hey, Boilers,
Go
I'm
check
saying this
out-
for next week. We're talking about what you did with your cup.
Love it. Let's
You're
get
good with the
fucking
cup.
weird.
That's
Let's
next
get-
week's
yeah.
opening
You know what?
breaker.
It's Stanley Cup playoffs, baby. We got stories.
I know.
to
We're talking
tell.
about it.
And look up Dan Boyle, Brent Burns, and find that clip somehow. So.
Disgusting,
Yeah.
dude.
Not,
it was
not
nasty.
not just own goal. Okay.
Buddy, I watched it like 20 times, and I gotta
the
say,
own goal, the own goal, or the Burnsy dangle.
the Burnsy dangle, and then
Burns
I
dangle. It was a
fucking
good
I did a
was a
little
good one.
self bird watching. Let's just say.
All right, boys. Ciao. Have a good one. Ciao.
That's too much. That's too much. That's
You
too
guys
much.
have to
I
see
can't,
this goal.
I can't
It's
believe we learned
disgusting.
what bird watching is. Yeah,
Well,
but
I always thought it was just looking at chicks, but I guess it's
that's what I
apparently
thought it was too. Yeah, but-
apparently dicks. It's dicks
Yeah.
instead of chicks, and who knows?
It's both, I guess. Yeah, so-
Maybe it's. I guess that disappointment about like not making the playoffs is I don't know if disappointment's the right word, but I think you could argue that the Pacific's probably still going to be a pillow fight next year. So why can't they just win it next year too, or like try to get it next year?
But Keegan, okay, so the way I'm thinking about it is like there's different scenarios that can happen. Let's say, okay, God forbid Macklin gets hurt, right?
Yeah,
And that's going to take you probably out of the playoffs.
Of course.
Like almost no matter who they add. But if you see Will Smith grow, like kind of like when Crosby goes down, Malkin takes over. You see Askarov become a more consistent goalie. Those are the elements, I think, of improvement. That's why I think Zubair and I are aligned, because we don't want to make it that simple. Chances are, if Macklin is healthy, Will Smith jumps up, Eklund jumps up, Misa jumps up, Askarov, most importantly, jumps up. You're going to make the playoffs. I mean,
I hope
just
so.
like, yeah, right? Like, you know, half dozen of your best young players
Yeah.
got better, you know? And so, yeah, you're going to make the playoffs.
Well,
but,
then yeah, if
just in
if they all
case.
get hurt, then I'm not going to be
well,
disappointed.
Macklin really is the linchpin.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not going to be
I'm just talking
disappointed if they get
specifically
hurt.
about Macklin. So.
If they don't take that step and they don't make the playoffs, and also Grier doesn't address the defense in any meaningful way, then I will be disappointed.
Then we
So
take to the
that's
streaks like Vancouver's
Yes,
fucking
burn it all down.
Stanley Cup playoff loss.
Did you guys?
Okay,
This is unrelated.
so-
But did you guys watch the Buffalo game tonight at all?
No, I did.
Buffalo,
I was
Boston
I didn't.
game?
I've been
No.
catching the highlights. Yeah.
okay.
It
fill
was
us in.
me
awesome
too.
because Buffalo got to like play their first playoff game in like 15 years or whatever. But
Was
the funniest part was they were losing 2-0, and the whole arena was just like waiting for that first goal. And there's a bunch of fans outside, like hundreds of fans behind a big metal barrier outside of the arena, as well as, you know, it's a packed house in there. So they score that first goal. I think it's Tage Thompson scores the first goal. Whole place goes nuts. They show the fans outside. They're all going nuts. They're all sitting behind this barrier with a bunch of cops and like security guards like sitting in front of the barrier. They score this, like the second goal. They don't show the outside, but they show the arena. They go nuts. They scored the third goal to go ahead of Boston. They cut to the outside. The barricades are on the floor. Everybody's shirtless. Like all of the guys are like, everybody's got their
It's like
tops off.
28 days later or something like that.
It's fucking amazing. It was just like the funniest juxtaposition between
zombie
the first. It was fucking amazing.
That's
I love it. 'Cause the
amazing.
first one, they're going nuts outside, but like there's still an orderly, like there's security. And then that one, the barricades are over. They're shirtless. It's
I
awesome.
love it.
Anyway, completely off topic, but
I
I love
love
the
that.
playoffs. It's so great to see the playoffs back.
And Zubair just sent us the Dan, or at least in the group chat, the
Hell yeah.
Dan Boyle goal. So I don't think we can put it on the broadcast because
Well, it depends. Is it if it's from like OLN or something that doesn't exist anymore?
it's still NHL highlight.
Is it? I don't
The
know.
NHL
Dude,
exists, Keegan.
Well,
Anyway,
no. Okay.
I'm just telling you where to look for it, all right? Just in case you can't put it on, all right? We'll try to.
It's
we'll
on
see.
Sun Sports, which does probably still exist because it's on Life.
The NHL still exists, goddammit, Keegan. That's why. SP Times Forum, that's the YouTube page. Top Lightning players, Dan Boyle. So, and it is gross. It's sick. He
Dude, it's
completely addresses
disgusting.
Burnsy.
Thank you again. Shout out follower and supporter and buddy of mine, Glenn Chu. Fucking love that guy. He sent me the clip on Facebook. We had buds for a long time, playing beer league together, and he was like, "Dude, you ever seen this?" I was like, "No."
Well, and the classic
Sick.
Burnsy almost starfish at the end. I love it. I didn't realize that Burnsy had done a
I was
starfish
like,
at the
I just
very end,
checked
too.
Boiler. I just checked spoilers. I was like, yeah,
Awesome.
when Burnsy's on the podcast, we're letting him know that this happened.
That's how we introduce it. Yeah, that's how we get him on.
Yeah.
But
Burnsy's
I wanted to add though, to go back to what you're saying about Warsofsky, that like I feel like I feel like we're talking about degrees, you know, like I felt like the way you presented it is like extreme, like he doesn't treat different players differently. I think he does. Maybe he could do a better job of it. And maybe that's what he was alluding to yesterday when he did say, like, yeah, maybe sometimes I've got to be a little more positive at the right time. And he also added, though, to it's very important. He said that sometimes I got to be a little more negative at the right time, too.
Yes.
And you see it in a lot of fans talk about how he talks about Will Smith. And the thing that I think I said a month ago, I'm pretty sure about this, you know, like this is just being around and talking to people. Like Will's a very confident guy. He can take a lot, basically. He doesn't need as much sort of, how do you say it,
Hugs?
hand holding or whatever, or
Well,
hugs, yeah.
and let's also
You
put
know,
that in
and-
context of like people are very protective of Will Smith. Fans are. So
Sure,
a lot
sure,
of
that's
a
a
lot
whole
of
nother
that is
thing,
also like
a whole nother argument,
fans
yeah.
being like overly protective over someone who's like a fantastic professional, and to your point, can take that feedback from their coach, who he knows is looking out for his best.
Right. And I think with Mukhamadullin, that there's the same consideration there. It's not like they just rake Mukhamadullin over the coals or whatnot, right? So like I think he's gonna get a shot next year. I think his performance needs to be better. And I don't think that this is like a bad coaching staff for him. I don't know if I haven't seen that. I feel like Warsofsky has mishandled him. I know that you have said it, Zubair, right here, and Keegan has said it before too. So maybe I'm the one who's wrong because both of you are seeing something that like I'm not quite seeing. And I just see a player that has been a little lost this year, and yes, maybe some confidence he'll find himself. Can you afford to wait on that when he is making critical mistakes toward winning and losing, right? And that's that's one of the question marks there.
Well, I think about what Dan Boyle said earlier about Radish, and JD said about Radish, and we've all talked about Radish. Forsling's another person. I think if you look at the best teams in the league that win the chip, there are ones that understand that there's a long arc to development with certain players, and you have to now in the league, if you really want to win, one of the differentiations is finding guys that are on that trajectory and signing them at that moment. And and that's like that's something that you should really think about. And I think that, and my only critique about Mukhamadullin is, I think also again, to your point, I'm not in the locker room. Dan says it all the time. I'm fully aware of that. All I'm going off of is what we're going off of, which is access to. I have maybe a little bit more access in the locker room or something like that, but like interviews and stuff like that. That's it. And when I think about it, and he talks about people being special and stuff like that, imagine being Mukhamadullin, struggling with your confidence and not hearing your name on that list. It's also what's not said that I think that a player might be going through, and you might just want that little extra confidence. And it's not Warsofsky individually, to Dan's point, it's the coaching staff, it's everybody. But I do think, and this is my observation, I think Mukhamadullin does have something special, and he has something to give to this team. And I think that his mistakes that he makes, to your point, Shangers, are grave. They're big, for sure. He drifts. He gets out of position defensively, and they do cost the team. Do I think those could be fixed? Yes, with his abilities that he has. Do I think that other people have been given opportunities and second chances more often and mentioned more positively in his interviews that have made those mistakes? Also, yes. And that's where I want to see more of a meritocracy. And I want to see more also maybe grace given to someone like Mook, and his age should not matter, because everyone's on their own path. And someone like Mukhamadullin is dealing with things that other players, like North American players, may not be, like moving to a new country, speaking a second language. These are things that I'm sure, are being considered by the coaching staff. 100% they are, because it's a professional organization. But I think that just like looking at age as a number alone is not a fair assessment because people are developing it at different levels and different degrees and have their own challenges. And I think Mook is a good enough player to have a really good role on the San Jose Sharks in the future.
I guess what I'm arguing is that it could just be that the timing isn't right here. Right, and that's not necessarily Warsofsky at fault or even Mukhamadullin at fault, really, right? Like Mukhamadullin may find his game at 27, but because of the way the waiver systems work, and that's actually a good thing because that gives Mukhamadullin an opportunity somewhere else, so the Sharks don't give it to him, right? Like a guy like Gushin, for example, right? Like Gushin it wasn't happening in San Jose, and sorry, Keegan didn't happen in Colorado either, but
he's doing fine in Colorado.
With the Eagles.
he's not for the Eagles.
But
there's a different Colorado.
The point is
but
that
as
the
a
system...
It is a team called Colorado.
The system gives you a chance, though, to.
And I said that last week that I think that I think he might be in a better spot in a team that's not wanting to win right now.
Totally fair point.
Maybe.
Totally fair point. Totally fair point.
I think he could afford the mistakes. I think that he could develop into what he has because he has a puck rushing ability that like doesn't get utilized because he's afraid to rush the puck because as soon as he loses the puck, I feel like he thinks he's gonna just. So what does he do? He chips it out. Like he just continually glasses it out, or he just does the bad play, which is tries to get off the boards and he does nothing with the puck instead of using his speed, using his size to protect the puck. Like he did in KHL tape, like over and over again. That was like a thing he used to do all the time. And also at the Barracuda. But he didn't have, because of injuries, because of whatever, that whole runway for the past 2.5 years has been start, stop, start, stop. It hasn't come together. So, and Grier said that too. It just like hasn't formed into a workable game other than like passable third pairing minutes sometimes. So deal with them.
I got a question for you, Keegan, because this is going back to the coaching, and this is where, and again, put this with the caveat that end of the season, Sheng bring this up, and it's a super valid point. I'm not trying to mitigate the point in any way. It's a valid point. When the Sharks are playing more meaningless games, once they were out of the playoffs this season, you saw like people rip. You saw Sam Dickinson rip. You even saw moments of Mukhamadullin where he's in front of the net. Right? Like he was rushing.
Yeah, that was funny.
And that's when they were playing really well. And I think that's where the questioning of the coaching is really where
I don't think that's accurate though, because what games are you talking about? They played well. They played well in Winnipeg.
I thought they played well in Nashville. Yeah.
But that game still mattered to them too, because they were still technically in the playoff hunt. So you're talking about Winnipeg. They were bad against Chicago.
Yeah, they were bad against. They were bad against Chicago.
We're talking. So I'm not trying to jump in and
fair.
You're talking about like a very small amount of games here, though that we're talking about.
I guess when I say this, what I mean to say really more specifically is that I saw good moments from Mukhamadullin, Sam Dickinson, and even Luca, where like it just felt like, and again, this could be a significant part of this observation is the fact that, you know, it's meaningless hockey to a degree, except for Nashville. But a part of it is also that I think that maybe you can make your team feel a little more comfortable, even in meaningful games, to be themselves. And I think also there's a part of like processing, playing defensive hockey and things like that. But I think there's also a part of it where how do you do that but let your guy rip and give him the confidence to be himself? And that's really what I'm trying to say is like, and again, some of the guys just observationally feel tight, and there's this pressure, and we saw it when the Sharks were playing meaningful hockey, and they're just getting blown out, you know, in certain games, and there's this like tension, and I think it's a big job, and maybe this is just, you know, of the coaching staff to like relieve the tension, and let guys, because when you're playing and you're practicing in the regular season, that is just, you know, downloading information into the players. But in playoffs and in the Sharks, the playoffs, when you're playing meaningful hockey, driving your playoffs, the playoffs sort of start earlier. At that point, if you're processing, you're already behind the play. What you need to do is be reacting, and that is just like pump people's tires.
Okay, if we're going to go exactly off of what Warsofsky said, all he talked about in the last month or so, after the Islanders game specifically, I remember, because that was a tough game for the Sharks. It was a close loss. Alls went against the Sharks. What's his name? Barzal hit Macklin in the head. That wasn't called. Macklin was super frustrated. Warsofsky struck a go back to what he said after that game. He was like, the team needs to just like have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's been saying that for 2 months. And so if the guys can't do it though, like, is that the coach's fault that he didn't get them through relaxed enough? Like, what else can he do? Like, the messaging didn't seem off. He wasn't like, every fucking game counts. Oh my God, how could you blow that play? And in terms of, like, you talk about the puck rushing for Mukhamadullin, right? Like, so there's a calculation here, right? With any, like, offensive player, Cagnoni, with Eric Carlson, right? Like, you've got to do that a certain number of times. And Dan Boyle gave a number for this, right? 8 out of 10 times. This shit better work out, right? And so if you're a guy, and obviously way different doing this in a KHL or in the NHL as opposed to the KHL or AHL or any other level, right? So Mukhamadullin is doing like playing free like that, but though, like, the calculation is that it's only going to work out 6 of 10 times. You can't have that.
Yeah,
that's useless to you. That's a negative to you.
100%.
And so that's what they're trying to teach them. Like, okay, play this certain way, get this defensive stuff down. Okay, now you free will a little bit, but you're still under this 8 of 10 sort of whatever. I don't know if that's the exact number that they have for him, but I think Dan gave a good general guideline.
Dan said, right? Tortorella said it, like, clean up your defensive end and I'll let you rip.
Yeah.
100%.
And Eric Carlson is the best example of that we see on the Sharks, because, and even Brent Burns too, like, they took chances, right? And they fucked up, and Eric got beat a lot physically, right? And when he became a one-on-one, right? But Eric did so much at the other end that
he's a unicorn.
No, it's true. Eric's like,
you can't put him in the category.
Yes,
his creativity, his skating, like, you can't.
Like, that's fair. It's an extreme example, but that's what those guys have to get to. And so I do feel like people see, like, a few of the highlights of what these guys can do. I'm talking about the fringe guys like Luca, like Shakir. They think, oh, wow, he can do that. So why doesn't he play every day? Well, if you play every day and they get exposed more like Shakir did, right? Then you see, okay, there are 6 of 10 players, there's 7 of 10 players. And that's what is not winning. That is not conducive to that.
And I agree with all of that. And I think those are all they're just completely valid points, and I think that, and to that point, and is that, okay, you have to win the games, but for this Sharks team and where they are, and Mike Grier stating that, like, I'm still not, like, gonna make any completely erratic moves towards, like, mortgaging your assets. Significantly so, because we're a team in development still, like what we talked about, the Misa trade, for example, is a hypothetical. Well, then isn't it not the point to develop some of these players still that you have and that you bet on to a degree? And I guess that's ultimately where we're like, I'm coming to this conversation with that assumption that, like, okay, you need to win games, but at the cost of, like, underdeveloping someone like Mukhamadullin, because I agree with you, it's mistakes. I agree with you of all that. But do you believe ultimately that this kid can learn through those mistakes? And I think that they can, given the opportunity and the chance. And I think that they should be given more opportunity and more chances. And ultimately, that's what I'm saying, especially the youth. And because that this is not a Stanley Cup playoff team. Like, you can make playoffs. Maybe there was a chance you could have made playoffs this season if things fell perfectly right. However, do you think they're winning a Stanley Cup? If not,
you're describing the GM's job, though. The coach's job is different than the GM's. So the coach has to kind of fill his best lineup right?
Let's define that. No, I don't think so. So, and I think that's another area where I think I slightly disagreed, and that's really where the heart of the disagreement is. It's not in any of the points that we're making, because I completely agree with you, Shangers. But I think at the heart of it, I'm coming to it that the goal of the coach is slightly more developmental than just winning games this season. And I think ultimately it's a nearsighted versus far-sighted approach. And I think that if you're thinking more long-term, like, as a coach, like, is the goal the cup? Is a goal like winning next season? Like, as opposed to, like, do you realistically think that you can win the cup this year with this squad? Is it not to play the long con and play the game through this year and next year. And because you have development, you have growth, you have progress. Maybe you lose a couple more games if you don't play Letty and Klingberg, but you get significantly better development from these guys. Someone like, and that's ultimately where I think the debate is. And that's a debate
because you're talking
right
about
around
one player, though. Because, okay, like if you win the games, or let's say you put Letty in and you win the game and Mukhamadullin development is like slightly hampered, right? You make the playoffs. Does that help development of other young players?
Great point. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So.
And so you're just concentrating on this one player. Another point I want to bring up too is that you talk about the development of players and Warsofsky's job with that. So how many players that have made it, right, has he not developed?
Yeah, absolutely right.
I mean,
he hasn't been here that long either.
I know, but I'm just saying that some players are not going to make it, or they're going to make it at a later age.
Yeah,
and that's not.
Well, I guess more than anything, I was lamenting the lack of development in this game, and where it could be Shakir's fault, but it could be more. It could be on Shakir. It could also be on coaching. So it's on. I would say both, but more lamenting rather than I think that he should go out there and rush the puck 10 times a game into the offensive zone? No, but I know that he had that ability, and it never really like got fostered in a way that was meaningful. And I think that he doesn't have a lot of utility unless he's doing that. It's like he's kind of like, it's like you take your asset, right? And whatever asset it has a payoff. Every player, we talked about it a lot, has an archetype. They have a way that they play the game. And if they try to play a game different, unless they are extremely intelligent or extremely gifted, they're not going to be a successful NHL player if they try to change their game at the age of 24.
But
so what I'm trying to say is I'm sad. That's it.
Okay,
I guess I'm lamenting.
That's totally fair.
And also, I do not agree that you could just say, well, it's all just it's Mukhamedullin's fault. I don't think it is.
I
don't think it is. I think that there was a lot, but the problem is, here's my problem, Sheng. Here's my problem. You immediately do this a lot. You default to it being the player's fault. And I will say that is something that I feel like, I don't know, it feels like it comes up a lot. It is, well, he didn't make it because he didn't make it, rather than there was a chance for him to make it and he didn't.
Because that's what I've seen over the years. I'm not saying it's the player's fault. I don't want to put it that way, but like, I'll give you an example. Like my favorite example of this is Ryan Merkley. And I thought that Ryan tried to fix his game. It just wasn't going to happen for him.
I disagree.
No. Let me finish though.
Yeah.
And so like his body was never going to be the type to defend well enough. He knew how to do one thing well in this game, and that's all he could do. But that was a circus trick, basically, like a stretch pass. The fancy area lob pass that Erik Karlsson could make, that only he and Erik Karlsson could pretty much make. And it just wasn't going to happen for him. And that's how I came out to it, right? I don't think he could have worked harder, maybe, but what does that get him? That just gets him like AHL All-Star, maybe. I don't think it was going to happen for him. It just wasn't in the cards for him, right? And so that's kind of what I mean. So I don't mean to put it like the player didn't try hard enough or there was some kind of mental block, right? And I 100% recognize that there are cases, and Dan Boyle confirms it himself, right, that there are exceptional cases where a coach does fuck up and a coach does just not see what a player really is. So that happens, right? But I think that fandom thinks that happens more than it actually does.
Well,
that's my point. And let me finish.
Well, I just want to add to your point real quick.
Okay.
There was a coach recently. Who was it? That was like, coaches get too much blame and too much credit in the NHL. Who said that recently?
Yeah, okay.
What coach?
I don't know who said that, but that does sound fair to me.
That's
that sounds
exactly
right.
a truth that I agree with as well.
Yeah.
To your point, and I wanted to add to that. Coaches take too much fire and too much credit. I think it is more on the players, but I'll just say that and let you continue your point, and then we can continue.
Like philosophically, now we're talking about philosophical things, right? Not philosophical like philosophy, just how I see hockey, right? Like,
yeah,
a lot of people, a lot of fans, they look at how scouts fail, the guys they miss on. I look at that, actually, most of the times they're right, because most of the times they are actually right. And so that's kind of what guides my decision or how I think of it. So 5 scouts tell me the same thing about Mukhamadullin that have nothing to do with Warsofsky, right? They're not with the Sharks, right? And it's not like I've received a lot of feedback on Mukhamadullin that's been great from scouts this year. It's not nothing
sure.
I
Better
received
last year.
has countered what
But
Warsofsky is doing here. And so my general point is not that I'm blaming the player, but just that it's just not happening. And ultimately, like, what can a coach bring out of a player? I mean, going back to what Zubair said.
And so here's where I'm coming from, because, and again, there's lots of research outside of hockey in this, that people are on different paths, people are on different trajectories. And this is where I like what Dan said, that you have to coach the individual. But then I also, again, there's no right or wrong here. This is just a fantastic discussion that I'm enjoying, because I really like Keegan's point too, that he brought up last week. But to be honest with you, Keegs, I was kind of like, I kind of just like didn't think about it too deeply until today. And I was like, yeah, maybe he's just not on the right team because of what Sheng said about timing. And ultimately, I do agree with you. I think that timing is so much about this. But if your job is the coach, and again, I think your job is to extract and bring out the fullest possible potential of every individual player. That's what I do think is a part of the role of a good coach.
Okay, yeah, no, I think we agree on that generally, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? And so if that's the case, and then of course it's a very difficult job being a coach, because to Shang's point earlier, that's competing with, like, let me win right now. And let's be honest, Leddy played some awesome games. I actually think Leddy was great. Klingberg played some awesome games this season. They both did. Great veterans. But at the same time, like, when you think about Mukhamadullin, and again, it's not just Mukhamadullin. Mukhamadullin is the conversation point, but I think there's other players that could be, in this mix as well. And again, also state this: Warsofsky's done an unreal job developing other players on the team as well. Macklin, I think, would be fine with any coach in the world.
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think so.
Macklin, again, this is where coaches get too much credit and too much heat. But I think Mac would be coached by any coach in the world and be just fine. But no, Warsofsky's done a great job, and the coaching staff, again, to keep bringing his point back. But Mukhamadullin in particular, I think that what I observe in him is a player that needs a little bit more grace and opportunity. And I also see enough of that specialness in him that he could be a legitimate contributing player to any NHL team. And I like what Dan said again. I 100% agree. A 4-5 position. I really think, like, a 3-4-5 position, he could be in that role.
None of us, I don't disagree with that. I mean, Keegan, we've always liked Mukhamadullin, and I've always liked Mukhamadullin and had him up on my list. But again, though, like, going back to the point, though, like, look at all the Sharks 24 under players, and most of them, all of them really, except for Mukhamadullin, I mean, either they were sort of, they stayed the same, or they got better. No one got, like, what the hell happened to him, right? Like some people wanted more from Macklin, some people wanted more from Askarov, like, but I think the overall point I want to make, though, is that, like, not everybody's going to hit. Like, we look at like every top 10 list of the Sharks, 100%. Even the best list, right? Some 100%. Of these guys are just not going to make it. And it's not because Mike Ricci didn't do his job, going back to development, Todd Marchand didn't do his job, or down the line, Ryan Warsofsky, John McCarthy. Just some guys, for whatever combination of reasons, it's not even the player. Again,
well, let me ask you this.
Let
me ask you this. With the timing, and this is an honest question, with the timing of the Sharks, which I agree may not be aligned with Mook, how would you handle Mook in the current situation to bring out his full potential in the current situation? What would you do?
With the Sharks?
What would the Sharks do, whether it's trade him, move him on? What would you do right now to bring out the most in Mook and also maybe extract some value to the team? Whether that's
bring out
here
the most in Mook. See, the thing is, like, the thing that Keegan with that, Keegan and I talked about this, though, like, right? the team that Keegan's describing is a bad team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I know.
Like, we agree on that, right?
I remember I
Keegan?
laughed
I'm
on
not
that
making
last
fun
week.
of you.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically what we concluded
Yeah.
that you're talking about. But okay, so this current version of Mukhamadullin, who I do agree there are confidence questions and like maybe he can use, and maybe, you know, that's except it's one of these degrees things, right? I'm not
Yes,
saying that
100%.
Ryan Warsofsky is a perfect coach.
No.
That whatever, like maybe he could have been a little bit softer, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
extreme,
exactly.
but just
That's
a
all I'm
little
saying,
bit
too.
more. Yeah, give him a little more of a pat, and maybe that will encourage him, right? So,
Yeah.
so in this case with Mukhamadullin, like you need to give him basically. Like he's got to have he's got to be healthy, obviously, and that's obviously been an issue for him. That hasn't been his fault. You know, he's got to be healthy, have a full summer train. Basically, I think the run you give him is because I don't think you can afford to give him too many games in a regular season and just see if he's okay or not. Like again, your job as a coach is to develop, yes, but it's also to win, right?
Exactly.
And we did talk about Warsofsky, right? And he's doing a good job. But as a reminder that this is a reminder to everybody that the shelf life of coaches is so short. Warsofsky is already the 17th most tenured coach in the league.
Yeah.
So if the Sharks go backwards next year, he's going to get canned probably. And that's just the reality of it. It's not even that he did a bad job. It's just coaches don't last, you know? So anyway, like he does have that real pressure, right? And not that he's making bad decisions based on it, but he's got to, you know, produce results, right? But specifically with Mukhamadullin, I think that, and this is what I think people don't see too, and I don't really see it too in the sense of I don't watch for this, but in practice, you got to give him a lot of reps. You got to like basically give him top floor reps and responsibility, play against Macklin, see how he does against Macklin, against the best players. But you do it in practice though, because you can't fuck around with it in a game. And if you don't see that growth in training camp next year, then you're like, okay, this guy's waiver fodder. Like, okay, you know, and that's how I see it. I don't think it's about giving him games in a row because I don't think that you could afford to. And I don't think the Sharks really could afford to this year too, because they were better than we expected.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of a like, I don't know, fanciful thinking that if the Sharks coaching staff thought that, and they ended up being right because Nick Leddy was actually pretty good for like 10
100%.
games or so before he fell off.
Yeah.
That like if they see him practice, again, that's something that like I will admit I don't watch with a full understanding of what they're doing like at a high level yet, and I should learn. I don't think fans do either, but this is what a lot of their decision making comes from though. You know, they watch a practice, they see how a guy's practicing, his engagement and all that kind of thing. And it's just practice, to quote Allen Iverson, but you can see in practice how he's handling guys like Macklin, how he's handling, you know, that's the great thing about having Macklin. You have like one of the best litmus tests in the league.
100%.
This
He
isn't
brings the
no
whole
offense to
bar up.
Mikhail Granlund. This isn't
Go back to
Mikhail
our
Granlund
pod in
being your best
August. I
player.
said that in the training camp. I was like, dude, he is
He
literally
adds
driving
a level,
play.
right?
It's unreal. Yeah.
So if you see Shakir starting to do that more in practice than you did last year, then you start to think, okay, maybe there's something there. And then maybe we'll give him a little more run in a regular season because you're starting to see this blossom, you know, when it kind of doesn't count, but it does count.
Yes.
So that's my best answer to what you're asking.
I know, but I do think that there was, especially early season though, like I don't like he sat out for like 3 weeks after the first game of the year, right?
He got
Like,
hurt though. Again, we talked about this. Yeah.
Yeah. There was
He was going to come back.
Yeah, but he got scratched,
hurt.
then he got hurt, but which kind of
Yes.
sucks.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He got scratched
then
before he got hurt.
and he came back
he got hurt in
for
practice.
a month, right? And I don't remember if he got hurt again or not.
He got hurt. He got hurt a lot. So I think he got hurt again.
He came back for a month.
Yeah.
The month that he came back, the Sharks were like great. They were like 7-3-1 when he came back. The first game of the year, he did get sat out after, again, the Sharks lost in overtime to
And he had a
Vegas.
nasty assist on that one.
He had a great assist.
Great assist.
And he only played 12 minutes, and he was a +1, and it still blows my mind that he got scratched in that game. But it's
100% agree.
We already with this. He took a couple penalties in that game, though, and this is when early in the season when.
So the first time he takes a penalty, that's what I mean.
No, but he took 2 of them too. But yeah, but Zubair.
See, this is where my read of the game is like you're engaged. You said this about practices, Shangers, and I agree with you. You had a really great insight just now about like practices and coaches reading that. Early in the season, I see a guy trying his best. Yeah, sometimes your stick gets caught. I don't remember the exact penalties. Maybe you guys do. But to
I
me,
kind of remember them being like stick penalties.
Yeah.
which I,
yeah, and
they weren't
sometimes
good penalties,
But sometimes
anyway.
if it's a stick penalty, it's you trying, like you're engaged. You're like, and sometimes you get caught. And he had dude, that assist when I saw it, I was live at that game. I think it was a home game. No, that one I was like,
what was the opener? Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
one
it's
in
the opener against
Delkovic,
Vegas, right?
Yeah, blue with the stick
Yeah.
handling.
yeah. I was like, dude, oh my god! And that play, I would have liked to seen because he got scratched, and this is a great example. I would have liked to seen the coaching staff being like, dude, that was sick. We need more of that. You're engaged. Pat him on the back. And maybe this is what Warsofsky was talking about. We're like, I need to know when to be mean, when not to be, when to be nice.
Maybe.
I think to me that was and that's the beginning of the season. You're fresh. You worked hard in the off season. You're healthy. That can really affect someone's individual confidence. And that's exactly what I'm referring to. So Keegan, I'll go back to you on that. But
Yeah, that's all I was saying. It felt exactly like the same. And I don't want to bring up this again because we've argued about Mukhamadullin, the same as Gushin. It's the thing that we keep arguing about.
I feel like we're arguing about. No offense, I love Pablo Regenda, but we're just having the same argument. Like the guy,
Regenda's different to me.
May or may not make be like cut out in the end for the league, and I'm cheering for them. I hope
a little bit different with Mook because he's a 6'4", great skating, first round pick. Like
no,
he
I understand that. I understand that.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel the same way about Regenda. Sorry, Keegan. I didn't feel the same way about Gushin, even though I did wish he got a little bit more time. But here's the other thing too. I wanted to say is like, I actually don't see us disagreeing that much. I think that we just have slightly different perspectives on coaching responsibilities, whether winning games now versus, development, and that's relative to where the team's at. But ultimately, I got to say, I think there's been awesome points from everyone, and I've just learned a little bit more about hockey and what people are looking into, and that's really what this is about anyways. So I don't see too much disagreement, actually. I just see a lot of like discussion about what coaching means, which is a fun discussion.
Yeah, and I don't think Warsaw's a bad coach. So Warsaw, you can send me
not at all.
You can send me the Christmas card this year. Because I know that you're not
at all.
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
Sharks overperformed.
I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he, like you said, overperformed. He has some like interesting tactical decisions throughout the year. There were things that were like, oh, that was kind of meh.
Yeah, some things didn't work out.
But I think in general, like he deployed his offense pretty well, and this defense is not good. So even like being competitive in games is impressive, even if they were third worst or fifth worst in goals against.
Fifth worst in goals against, yeah.
So not great. It's got to improve, but that's also on.
I think they played hard and with a structure for most of the season.
Yes,
that's not just Macklin doing it, right? That's the entire team, and so that is a tribute to coaching. And I think he did. I think he mostly handled the young players well. I think the only question mark is the one that we've talked 30 minutes about, Mukhamadullin. That's the only one where it's like, well, maybe not, but he's also 24, and so like
he did play 21 minutes in that Winnipeg win, though, so good for Mook.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I shouldn't know that. Oh, good.
I didn't know that.
Looking at his page.
Also, like, just think about like Warsofsky as a whole and the season as a whole. I think another thing that I found really interesting that got cleaned up is being able to close out games and close out games and win games. That's a hard thing to coach. The other thing that I noticed that he did really well this year is, and again, credit to the whole staff, is just in general, like the Sharks as a whole being engaged in games and not giving up. It's a hard thing to coach competitiveness. Like Sharks got spanked and went on a losing streak right before Olympics and then came back and lost
every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a hard thing to coach into people. It's easy to just get steamrolled for a 4-game losing streak, but then they put together like a 3-game win streak. Like
when they end of the season, they're the worst games of the year because they're the most important. They get shit kicked by Edmonton, Anaheim.
Yeah.
They lose in a shootout to fucking Vancouver, right? Like the season's over right there, right? Like they fucked it up, right? And they go into Nashville and they end a 15 game 7-year losing streak, they play actually a good game.
Really
like, it's
good
really
game. Solid. Yeah.
Shockingly sound game.
Mukhamadullin also plays 21 minutes.
That game, did he? Okay, yeah.
I'm on his game by game log right
to
now.
the coaching staff. That's what they gotta do. They gotta add Keegan to the coaching staff.
I'm just
to work with Mukhamadullin specifically.
No. That ain't my job.
And in that Chicago game, you think, oh, okay, they played badly in that game. The second half of the game, you think, okay, maybe they're gonna finish the season on a low note, and then they come out against Winnipeg. It is a bit of a sloppy game. I think they played much better against Nashville, but they get some bounces, right? They're motivated by getting Macklin the record, but they're playing together, though. And so how much is that? It's, again, too much credit to the coaching staff, too little. It's hard to say, right? But the coaching staff is a part of it, though, for sure, though. And I guess that's yeah.
The game ended,
so you got to give some credit.
The season ended on a very positive note, other than they didn't get the 7th overall pick odds, which is, yeah. I think it is very funny that sometimes it goes down between like one game between 7th and 9th even, for me, a little sad, but I did like, it is worth it for Celebrini to break that record, because what if he never breaks it again or whatever? Like, that's worth it.
I think he's gonna break it multiple times.
Probably will. I just
mean, break his
like,
own record.
I'm sure he will.
It's going to be like those top 10 things, and it's like Gretzky.
Well, you never know. The NHL could
Gretzky. That
increase pad length by like
the Sharks just points board.
Yeah, well, they could increase pad length by like 3 inches next year for some reason, and then Ed scoring's back down to like 82 points a year or something. Scoring's up like crazy right now, so that is something. But I'm a little sad that they didn't get 7th odds, although I don't think there's going to be 2. I think there'll be a D-man there, but we'll talk about that in another show, the draft.
So 2 things. Number 1, I just wanted to say, I really enjoyed this Shark season. This is one of the most fun seasons watching the Sharks in their history. I think you saw, a couple of years of hard work in Mike Grier and the organization, biting the bullet, being last place. As fans, it's really hard, but behind the scenes, all the work that's being done with, the scouting team, development team, and you're starting to see it play. Also a little bit of luck. You got Macklin, you got the development. We had some great games. And I just thought it was just an incredible year. All the characters that he brought in, all the right decisions. And that brings me to the question, Revo, next year, you sign him for 1 more year or no?
Sure.
Yeah.
Not? I mean, there's nobody that's going to take his 14th spot. I think he's going to be the 14th forward, and you just kind of, when he's injured, you put him on IR. When he's going to play like 30 games and just be around.
Well,
maybe
he's
25.
got to play 38 to get to 1,000.
Oh, sorry. He's going to play 39 games and be around. But why not? I liked him in the locker room, and he did a lot of good things. I don't think there's a lot of hockey left for him, like actual hockey. But more of a, I don't know what the word is. Somebody that could fit in for those 5 or 6 minutes a night and provide some hits. That's about it.
He still provides a good crash bang. It just the hands have never been there, and so that's a little bit of an issue in terms of playing him. I gotta look at the construction of it, but I mean, I guess I'm fine with it. But it has been brought up that, okay, then you have not the most offensive guys in Gaudreau and Dellandrea and Reaves, right? And that was my one problem. I actually really liked the Gaudreau, Ostapchuk, Reaves line.
Me too.
Except there just wasn't any offense. Like they created chances. Like if you look at their
100%.
their analytics, they were creating chances. There's just nothing was going in. Nothing to kind of like to kind of push in the favor. And granted, there's a reason why they weren't finishing, because Gaudreau recently and Reaves historically, they have not been great finishers, and so that's a big part of it. And so when Gaudette got in there and started finishing stuff, then that's like, okay, then there's a little more of that on the ledger. Yeah, so no, I mean, obviously, though, when we talk about everyone talked about how special the room was, and again, it's hard to figure out how much a guy was a part of it without being inside there. But it seemed like Reaves, like he was no normal impact on the room. Like his impact on a room was, positive beyond ways that we can even understand, because we obviously weren't.
I think the best insight that we had into that was Gaudreau's interview. and the way that he talked about Reaves after he was injured in the fight.
No, I think that's.
I think that was
yeah,
the best
yeah.
insight into what he really meant to that locker room.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of what we all see, I think like you can't fake that stuff.
No, you can't. You
know,
can't.
you
You
really
can't.
can't.
No,
So,
I agree on that. And so so for that, and the sentimental of getting him to that 1,000, but you know, you have to do that without the cost of
yeah.
obviously wins and losses, right? I do, you know, that's still the paramount thing. And I thought that line did help him with a lot of wins this year, but obviously both Gaudreau and Reeves will be another year older, so that's a concern. But yeah, I think
Ideally,
it's
I would
okay.
like Gaudreau and Reeves to be your 13th and 14th
Yeah.
forwards.
Mhm.
Like, and you have a fourth line that's Ostapchuk, like Dellandrea, Gaudette, or some, or even moving out one of the Gaudette or Dellandrea, but they just re-signed Dellandrea, so probably not to get somebody else in there. But
Love Gaudette. I don't want to move out.
I did
Gaudette.
want to
do
add
like
that
him.
point though, that when at the Dellandrea, I know a lot of fans don't like that signing, but I just wonder. This is just my personal kind of question. I wonder if that is their internal replacement for Gaudreau when
Probably.
Gaudreau's contract expires. I just wonder about that. They see that that's a guy that can learn from Gaudreau and learn a lot of what Gaudreau does well.
Maybe.
I just wonder. I don't know that for a fact, but
It's a good thought.
I also do
because they
think
need a
that
PKer for sure after
Yeah.
Gaudreau is going to be.
Well, Shershaw will play the PK.
Mhm.
maybe
he's on the
we don't
lineup
know
full
though,
season.
but yeah.
The coaching staff said he's done a great job of it. You got Graffer.
Yeah, but we don't know if
Got Graf
that's going to
is
translate
excellent.
AHL
Graf's
to
excellent.
NHL.
Let's say Sherney performs well. Who else?
Stopcheck will
Stopcheck
probably be
Stopcheck.
on there, and then maybe Wenberg and then
for a bit.
Eklund and Sherwood have been options. So maybe he breaks through there.
When do you guys think Macklin finally plays the
Dellandrea's
PK?
high, too.
That's
He'll
the
be
question.
24. I don't know.
You know, it's a good
23.
question, huh? Yeah.
Like, when will Macklin
because-
finally play the PK? Like, they've been delaying that for great reasons, obviously. Like, that's pretty obvious,
No,
but
that's a good point.
it's only a matter of time until he starts playing PK.
Maybe when the offense catches up to him, the other people catch up to him, so they don't need to depend on him so much. Like when Michael Misa, for example,
That's a good point.
Is either PP1 caliber or he's stabilizing your PP2, which he's not capable of yet as 18-year-old. But once you have a strong PP2, then Macklin doesn't need to play all 2 minutes of the PP, which he sometimes does. So maybe that's why. Well, maybe that's when.
That's great.
But I want to add too Gaudreau's. I thought Gaudreau was really good this year too. So I understood that he played every game. That's one that, like, 2 years ago when he was not as good his first year here back, but the team was weaker, so I understood then why he played every
playing
game.
farther up in the lineup too. I think he fits.
Yeah, exactly, right, exactly. But I thought he had a very good year this year.
Totally agree. Absolutely. I think he had a great year. I especially down the stretch. And again, this is where I find hockey. This is one of my favorite things about hockey is like playoff hockey, which has started best time of the year, and regular season hockey, completely two different sports in my opinion. And we got a little glimpse of playoff hockey or meaningful hockey. And this is actually one of the things I talked to Martin Tan St. Louis about on our walk, which is just fucking awesome. And we talked about meaningful hockey, and I was like, hey, like, how meaningful were those games last season with Montreal, even though you lost in the first round? And he was like, dude, it's absolutely the most important thing to play meaningful hockey. And he's like, with the Sharks, it's starting now. And that's what I talked to the team about. And like, it's so amazing to hear it from someone like him. But it really is two different games, and you can see the drop off after they stop playing meaningful hockey as well. And that's where Sheng brings up the point of, like, you know, even Mook playing last year in like meaningless games. 100% agree. It's two different sorts of games, but at the end of the day, playing meaningful hockey is a whole different sort of thing. And the Sharks in particular playing meaningful games for the next stretch, I think it was really fun to watch, to see the players that stood out. And Gaudreau was one of those players to me. When the games started to get heavy and playoff like hockey, he was one of our best players. Sheng, we talked about this. Do you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree, especially in that losing streak, that 6-game one before they
Yeah.
won in Columbus. And yeah, it's kind of faint praise to be the best player in a losing streak. And Gaudreau shouldn't be your best player like in a stretch. He just that's problematic for the team. That's not on
Yeah.
Gaudreau, but that's problematic for a team. But he was, I thought, the most consistent. He just was together. He wasn't flustered when it seemed like a lot of his younger teammates were a little bit like that. So I'm okay if he is your if he is your 12th guy. I would not necessarily consign. He could be your 13th too, but I'm okay if he's your 12th too, as long as again you got to work on the top 11.
Still has penalty kill utility. When they picked up Gaudreau on waivers, I first thing I said was he's going to play a lot of penalty kill minutes for the San Jose Sharks. That's actually one of the first comments I made. That's still good. Like what he does well is that.
100%. Yeah.
And he is an energy guy that brings that level of physicality in every shift. So it is consistent in that manner. But like you said, Sheng, it doesn't push a lot of offense in your fourth line. But at the same time, we have a pretty good top 9. So I don't know if it really matters what your fourth line is doing all that much, other than killing penalties.
A guy I'm watching closely next year is Ostapchuk. Like, can Ostapchuk take another level, another leap? Because right now, I think he's a pretty good 4C, but he's young though, and I saw some flashes from him at the end of the season, the last half of the season, where there's something more there, and it doesn't mean he needs to be Alex Wenberg. He doesn't need to be a 3C, but he can be better than what he is offensively.
Finds a scoring touch.
Yeah, even just that, right? That's going to help that line look a whole lot better because Gaudreau's not going to score more goals than he did 5 years ago. That's just not happening. But if the guys around him, get better, then he can accentuate that. So that, I think that's the way I look at it.
All right, well, boys, at our end of the season episode, I just wanted to say it's been a great year. And I just it's been so much fun. We've had such a great year together, and we've been blessed with just having a lot more people listen to us and follow us. And so, Keegan, starting with you, and then we'll go to Shengers. Anything you want to say to our existing followers and our new followers?
The future is teal. Can we get rid of the future is teal hashtag so that we can change it to the teal is now, the something is now? I don't know. They gotta rework it. I think now that the now is teal. I don't. But you're right.
Teal.
The growth of this podcast has been awesome. I was looking at numbers the other day of like every podcast now we're getting thousands of more viewers than we were in prior, and that's in part because the team is better and people want to watch Sharks and watch Sharks hockey. And I think that they're just responding to the great content that we're putting out, even if it is 2.5 hours long. So thank you all for listening. It's not 3 years ago where Sheng and I are putting out podcasts to like 600 people. And thank you all those 600 people that are probably still here. But like now,
I was one of those 600 people, by the way.
Zubair was one of those 600 people.
Love you guys.
So it feels like it's growing in a way that is super exciting. We have like a ton of ideas that we, Aaron and myself, have wanted to do for the off season to keep expanding this podcast and this brand. So I think tune in for all of that. Not that we're going anywhere. We're still going to have some off season content, but this does feel like the end of it's the end of the season. The locker room clean out for our show, I guess.
Yeah.
There it is. So good work, everybody.
Thanks, Keegan. And Shengers, I just wanted to say too, I've been getting a lot of I do some of the comms for San Jose Hockey now, and the overwhelming love for Shengers is what we all feel on the podcast as well. And so I just wanted to say thanks, because there's no one that works harder than Shengers on this entire team, and he's really our captain. He's our Macklin. And
that's a lot of pressure.
Hey, dude, you are though, and we love you, and we just wanted to,
I'm not thinking 8.7 million, guys. I'm sorry. So.
What?
I want more.
Is it less? No.
It does. So, yeah. What do you want to say to our new and also long-time followers?
Well, first I want to thank the both of you, Keegan, for putting up with me for all these years, and Zubair for putting up for me with me this year.
I'm kidding, Sheng.
All we got to do is pass you the puck, Macklin. Don't worry about it.
I'm definitely not Macklin, all right? I'm keeping that puck. But yeah, so I wanted to start with that because I couldn't do it without you guys. But I also wanted to add too that I did read a nice comment today that I thought I thought put it well, and it's from Tim Sim TV. And I've seen him. He comments on a lot of our stuff on YouTube, so we appreciate you doing that. But he just mentioned that sometimes there are some heated comments from time to time, and I'm probably going to get them after not voting for Macklin for MVP and also talk about Mukhamadullin.
And well deserved. Fucking grill him.
That may be the case, but yeah, like he also mentioned that a lot of it comes from the passion for the team, and that's what I've seen grow so much with the new fans. I'm happy that there's so many new fans jumping on board, and sure, maybe not all of them will become diehards, and maybe they won't subscribe to San Jose Hockey now, but some of them will, and that's what happens, right? Like you have like a phenomenon like Will and Mac. It's like a boy band. They happen, and then some people are gonna stick and be like real deal fans, and that's awesome. And some people will move away and do other things with their life, and that happens too. That's just a part of life. Yeah. Anyway, though, that like to a guy like Tim there, though, that I know has been there for a while, and to the people that have been there, the 600 or so people that listen back in the day when Keegan and I first started this, or back in the day when the first iteration of the podcast with Nick, that yeah, and when I started the website in 2020, that I said this to Tim, that like I understand that a lot of the anger, a lot of the passion, a lot of the why Letty over Mukhamadullin, why is Dellandrea playing? It's love for the team, and without that love, without that passion, and without that growing like it has this year, that I couldn't do what I love, and that's what I think that is not expressed enough, and maybe I should say more. And I don't think that people know that I really like doing this. And I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't. The travel sucks. There's a lot of things that are not unpleasant about this job that I don't want to complain about, because that's not the point of this. But like, I really love what I do. I wake up every day and I'm happy with my job. I'm happy with what I do, and I don't know if there's a lot of people that can say that in this life. And I get to say that because people like Tim and all of you who have subscribed from 2020 when I started off, and people that continue to subscribe, and also the people that are just jumping on now, who are watching, who are learning about us, that I take this job very, very seriously. This sort of, I see it as an agreement with myself and the fan base that I will give you the best coverage, the best objective coverage. You may not agree with everything I say. I may ask a bad question, a stupid question here and there. I may make people mad, whether it's the player or it's the fans from time to time. But I am going to do my best at it, and I try, and I love to do that. And so, anyway. Thank you, everybody watching and listening for that. It's been a tremendous year, and look forward to the continued growth of all this.
Aw.
I
Well,
love it.
I'll finish off and say, obviously, thank you to Sheng and Keegan, for letting me.
Danny B as well.
Oh yeah, Danny B's a goat. He's the best. He's the fucking best.
Yeah, we gotta have Danny B.
Fucking love Boilers, dude. And no, I everything Sheng said, I'll just say from my perspective is 100% true. Plus, I would double that to what people don't see, in terms of like how hard he works and what he puts into this, and he's just so humble and hardworking, and it's just been a lot of fun. And one of the things that we all said at the beginning of this year, when I joined and Dan joined, one of our goals was to teach people about the game that we love and about the team that we love, and to teach about the hockey and the Sharks. And I got a comment, a message from a fan. We've had so many wonderful comments from people the last 48 hours. I think the end of the season just brought a lot of emotions, and that's what brought on this ending segment today. And there was a fan who, as you guys know, I've said this many times, my favorite thing in hockey is watching the Sharks win. Second favorite thing in hockey is watching the Leafs lose. And and it was nothing better and perfect than a follower who was a Leafs fan her whole life and converted to the Sharks this last year and thanked us for our content and the stuff that we push out, and was really grateful to our team and Shangers, and I just love that, and it brings us a lot of joy because her, as well as some other followers, just in the last 48 hours, said, I love that the way that you guys have taught us about the Sharks and taught us about the game. And it felt like it was a mission accomplished in our goal because we love this game. And like Sheng said, he loves what he does. And all we want to do is share it with more people. And we disagree sometimes, we agree sometimes, and it's all fucking awesome. And I love that. And I love that we could talk about what we love together and share it with you guys. So we just wanted to say a big thank you to all of you. And for me personally, thank you to Shangers, and thank you to Keegan, thank you to Dan, because it's been a lot of fun. And go Sharks.
Go Sharks, go.
Go Sharks.
Go San Jose Hockey now.
Go San Jose Hockey now. Go.
All right, guys. Love you, boys.
See you next week, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.